recording video. There we go. 3, 2, 1.
10 years ago, below the surface of planet Zebes, Samus exterminated the energy-based parasites called Metroids and defeated Mother Brain, the leader of the pirate horde.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Core. This is Core, episode, what are we even at? 352 now. Thursday, February 9th, 2023 is the date. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger. And we are here to have some fun with you. Bo is a GIF nightmare right now. Have you seen this over here? Oh my gosh. Those at home can't see it. Bo's got every GIF he's ever had running on the screen at once. And it looks great. Plus, we have frame rate issues today, so it's making it even weirder.
Yeah, no, that's why I leaned into it.
Like,
today's the day.
Yeah,
today's the day.
If you're going to do it now,
assume that I'm ruining the show because of my inability to keep GIFs off my screen.
I love it. Look, whatever. It makes me want to party where you're partying and have what you're having. Anyway, welcome back to the show, everybody. We're here. We got stuff. It's been kind of a big week in a couple of key areas, and in some ways, kind of a slow gaming week. We'll explain. We'll get into it. But before we do anything else, I need to share my favorite phone call we got this week. All right? No offense to any other voicemails we got, because you're all great, and I love you all. But you guys need to hear this one because it's great to start the show off today. Enjoy.
This is Rigoric. I am exponentially appreciative to John forcing y'all to give that code away for Dead Space on air, because that made it into being the favorite part of the episode, and we didn't even get to Grandma reading the names of the games yet. I'm not sure if Grandma reads the names of the games on this episode, because y'all are trying to end the episode, but thank you, John, and love the lake run though. Bye.
Okay. So
Okay.
There's a lot to love about that call.
I agree.
Not just because they are complimenting me on a decision I made,
mm-hmm.
But also my favorite detail is that they dropped everything to make the call. They're like, I'm not going to finish the episode.
Yep.
I got to call right now and give my appreciation right now.
Yeah, that was great. Usually people will finish up so they're sure they didn't miss anything, but he felt it was important, and I appreciate that about him. But also, if you last week, for whatever reason, you were hearing the outro music going, you know what we usually say there, and you're like, I don't need to hear this. I'm moving on to whatever's next. I've been here 3 hours or whatever. You missed out on the amazing train wreck that was us giving away that code at the end of the show. It was fantastic. So go back, re-download, and listen to the final 10 minutes of the show. It was maybe some of my favorite anything we've ever done, and it was all by accident. And it was all because, like he says, John deserves the credit. John pushed for us to do a thing. Had we not done that, we would have missed out on one of the greatest moments the show ever had.
And
right?
Grandma did read the games. She read them extra fast.
Yeah, she did get there, and that was also really good.
But it was arguably more fun listening to her go fast than it was slow.
I agree. Yeah, kick her into gear today and put some gas on her, John. Have her,
Okay.
I don't know.
Gassy grandma, that's what we want.
Put some gas on Grandma and light her on fire, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because that worked out real good. Anyway, that was great. Thank you for the call. If you want to be like that person and call us, 801-471-0462 is the number to use. Let's get all Mario up in here. Good news, Nintendo fans. Nintendo did a Direct, and they announced a bunch of stuff that you're probably excited about. Some of it you may not be so much. At least I'm not.
Well, a lot of it isn't going to be talked about. And once again, you might be sitting there going, why didn't Core talk about Shulk?
Yeah, Shulk.
And the answer, I don't know if they talked about Shulk at all, but that's what I always think about when I think about Nintendo Directs and things I don't care about is the character Shulk from a video game I don't play.
Yeah, some of that happened.
I skipped it. When I was reading the article, I just went right past it.
Yeah, not into it. Didn't see anything.
I didn't even remember.
Out at you.
It sounds like a new word that John just invented. Shulk, whatever that is.
It kind of is a new word. All right. Well, here's what you missed. They talked about. Here's a game we're not going to talk a ton about because we already kind of know what's going on with Pikmin. But they announced Pikmin 4. All right, that exists. That's a thing. And I'm not trying to
Pikmin. Where do you land on Pikmin, Scott?
Okay, Pikmin 1.
Miyamoto, legendary creator, his passion project, his favorite thing. Pikmin. What do you think about it?
First easy answer for Pikmin number 1. I disliked it greatly, played it. GameCube game, right? I believe is where it started.
Yeah.
I played it and didn't like it for this reason I bring up for other games all the time. I don't like timer mechanics. It's the same reason I don't like Majora's Mask, even though a lot of people really love that game. I think you're one of them. Are you? I can't remember. Do you like Majora's Mask? I think
it's okay, but I struggle with the time limit as well. Although Majora's Mask is pretty good. They give you a way to deal with the time limit pretty early.
Yeah, they do. And it's not the worst. It's not the most egregious version of this.
Yes, I play XCOM 2. There's a whole project that's going on in the background. It's a whole mechanic of the game. I disable that if I want to have fun
every
on XCOM
time.
2.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just don't like timers. You give me an underwater level, Sonic when it starts doing that awful music and you know that little hedgehog's gonna die.
Yeah.
I just hate it. I don't like it. It's like that all the time for me.
Yeah, I don't like it either. I'm not a big fan of timers, even back in the Mario days, original Super Mario Brothers stuff. I hated it. And so it's just a matter of taste. I know there are people that like this stuff. My wife and daughter are currently hooked on Pikmin. What's it called? It's the Niantic walking kind of Pokemon Go, but not really. It's for people who want to get like in shape.
It's not called Pikmin Go.
Is it? No, it's Pikmin something. Pikmin flower, because you plant flowers and you hit milestones for how many feet you've walked or how many steps you've taken, and then you're like, oh, I can poop out some flowers here, and Pikmin grow. That's it. Thank you, chat room. They love that game.
I have a joke. Knock knock.
Okay, who's there?
Pikmin.
Pikmin who?
Pikmin butt, please.
What? Really? That was the joke.
I'm still workshopping it.
No.
That was a test run to see how it played.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna say it played well. I'm gonna give it a good score.
I'll give it it's in beta, but I'll give it a B plus. I'll give it a B plus.
Right. Be honest.
It was good. Yeah, no. I love dumb jokes like that. So you did it.
Yeah. But I mean, if you want to give it one of those Steam special reviews, worst game ever, 1,000 hours played.
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah.
Those are my favorites. The ones where they've donated a quarter of their life to a game that they hate. I love it. Anyway, Pikmin 4 is a game, and it's like Pikmin, and there's really not a lot else to say. It looks fine. It looks like Pikmin. So to finish answering your question, John, Pikmin 1 rubbed me the wrong way because of the timers. Pikmin 2 and 3 alleviated that a lot, but by then I was kind of spent on it. And I really just don't care for games where I got a bunch of things following me. I don't know how to explain it. It's like they kind of invented it, and there's other indie games that have tried to duplicate it. My kids are really into this indie game called, I think, Ooblets. I think it's called.
I was recommended that by my sister.
Yeah, people
Ooblets.
love it.
That's an indie hit, an indie darling, I think, for people who like those kinds of games.
Yeah, it's Pikmin for people that don't own the IP for Pikmin. You know, like there's a lot of games. There's a lot of games out there like, Pokemon likes and things that people riff on Nintendo properties. And this is one of those that I don't know what it is. The game type just doesn't interest me. I don't know what it is. I just don't like
John said one of my favorite things I've ever read today.
What was that?
And I think it applies here in our core Discord. He said, I'm just remembering, so I don't know if you know the exact word, but he said, we're becoming dangerously close to realizing we all have different tastes.
Wow.
Reading it in John's voice, and just
Yep.
We have to be careful, or we're becoming dangerously close to realizing we have different tastes and things.
It'd be a good T-shirt, John. We get a picture of you, like a stylized picture of you looking all stern, kind of down under your eyes.
That would be a great shirt sentence up there with the sun is trying to kill me, and like those nerd shirts.
Yeah.
That would be a good Jinx internet meme like that. Yeah. It really resonated with me today, John.
I hadn't heard it, so this is great.
The conversation had been going for a long time, and it was just a bunch of people going, I like this. And someone going, not me, I like this. And then someone else going, I like this, though.
Yeah.
It's just like, look out, guys. We're almost to an epiphany.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I had not seen your quote, but we could maybe make something out of that. Now that we're sold.
We are getting dangerously close to finding out people are different and get different things from games.
Nice. Yeah. Nailed it. Here's the thing. We sold out of Lake Run stickers. By the way, congratulations to 500 some of you, whoever money it was, a little more than that ended up with stickers. You guys are all very nice for grabbing those, and I hope that they're stuck on some prominent, cool place But maybe the next thing is some kind of John shirt.
I got some weird messages from that. Some guy tweeted me. I mean, I'm sure he's a listener and a nice person, but he's like, "Now I can bring you with me everywhere I go."
Oh my lord!
There was no context. Like I didn't realize it was because of the sticker. I just get this random message, and I'm like, "Should I be worried?"
Yeah. A little piece of Bo wherever you go. That's pretty good.
500. You know, it's not Leonardo DiCaprio numbers. I know.
No.
But if you'd asked me 20 years ago or told me that, hey, this amazing cartoonist is going to draw a picture of you with your pants off and 500 people are going to be happy to have received it and put it on their shit, I'd be like, that's not the future I was hoping for.
Yeah.
But I'm flattered all the same.
We could have.
I really want to see pictures of where people are posting them, though. Don't you?
Oh, yeah.
I like at the Core Twitter account at Core Pod. I want to see Bo doing a lake run out in the wild.
Do it.
I want to see TikToks of the significant others reacts to when they see the sticker on their fridge, and it's like, what is that on there, or just whatever it is.
Yeah, I agree.
And you trying to explain.
My stepdaughter took special time out of her day, which she's getting to the age where that's a lot to ask, to come tell me, John, that sticker of Bo is hilarious.
Well, it's got his bum on there. Everyone loves a bum.
You know? I'm like mildly worried about it. We live in an age where we're trying to, resolve the misdeeds of various poor male role models throughout the world without just saying it outright.
Yeah.
Here I am with a sticker, my pants off everywhere. Bill Cosby's getting shit, like no one's escaping, and it's like, here's an idea.
Here's an idea. Let's do it. But here's the thing: your story, but your backstory is you're a kind soul, and you just happen to be out in the woods by yourself.
Everyone's got a shit, and everyone's naked body. It's okay. It's just I'm trying not to let those thoughts invade. Of like, I hope this doesn't come back to bite.
No one's gonna. You're gonna.
In an Arrested Development idea where I'm in court for some benign thing and my character comes into question. Is it true that sticker of you with your pants off was produced for 500 listeners and children may have seen it? And it's like, oh, I'm going to jail.
Children may have seen it. Look,
well,
it's
I'm pie in the sky dreams is Banksy decides to do an art piece with that adopted onto it,
dude.
On the side of some real important.
You know what?
Oh my gosh!
I've walked through the door. There's no going back.
Yeah, we're here.
We've left Neverland. I'm all in.
Okay, good. I think
sell
that's
as much as you want, Scott.
That's a healthy thing the way to look at it. I only made 500, so the fact that we sold out made me very happy, and they went really quick. So that just means everybody really loves Bo and his bum. All right.
Look, I'm not helping. I have something to show you later that's going to say like, see, you're making this worse.
We're gonna get a sneak. Oh no! One day our video sucks. Zoom is all effed, and we're not gonna be able to see it very well. But I can't wait to see it. Anyway, or you could link it and I can pull it up. I don't know how it'll work. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Pikmin 4. No one cares. Moving on. Just kidding. People care. Have the game. It'll be fine. All right. Pikmin 4. You're looking forward to it. You know who you are. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That is a massive game. That's a game that a lot of people are interested in. They said nothing about breaking weapons or that system in general.
The only thing Scott cares about.
That's all I care about. If you want me to buy that game and get super jazzed about it, then I need to know what you're doing there. Even if it still exists in the game, do you have a way for me to repair them? Do they break less often? Can I hit more than 3 mobs before the early stuff
said
breaks?
Anything yet?
Not about that part.
Why wouldn't they?
Because they're weird.
Because they know Scott's out the second they say it.
Yeah, they
know.
As
soon as they confirm that's a feature in it, they know they lose.
Because to me, it can only mean one thing. It was a controversial feature. They must have gotten lots of feedback.
Oh, guaranteed.
Right?
Guaranteed.
They must have.
Yeah.
So they know I'm sure they know it's a controversial feature.
Yeah, they must know.
So if they're not saying anything, it's because breaking's coming back, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they haven't confirmed it one way or the other. Now, if they come back and say breaking's still in the game, but it takes longer and there's ways to repair it, like, Diablo style, go to a town, the guy will fix your stuff up. Okay. Something in that vein, a gold sink, I don't care how they do it, whatever the money is in the game, I forget.
I don't know. Maybe we're used to being told a lot in communication from developers, and I know Nintendo's not in that ethos.
No, they don't care. They don't do this stuff.
But I just feel like It's an $80 purchase. It was a deal breaker for some people. I don't know.
Oh yeah, nice reminder by the way. That game is definitely up in the higher echelon price range. $80
Oh shit!
in
It's
Canada.
not 80 for me. It's going to be 90.
It'll be 70 here.
Oh yeah, it's 70 for us.
Yeah.
So.
Probably $90.
Yeah. And it might be
Well,
the greatest
I own the
game ever
first
made.
one. Maybe I'll play that.
It might be the greatest game they ever put out. I don't know. I want it to be. I want to play it so
I
bad.
mean, a lot of people feel that way about Breath of the Wild. A lot of people feel like that was the reinvention of Zelda.
They're right.
I don't know. I haven't played it, so I'm not going to speak ill of it.
Really?
I know how
You
I
didn't
feel
play it?
about
I thought John played
weapon breaking in principle, but
Well, look, so you'd never played it, but okay. I will agree with those people. It is the reinvention of the series. It is a amazing overhaul of what the future of that game series looks like. And in every way, it's one of the most incredible games I've ever played. But it's like the Death Star. There's a hole right in the middle of it. You can just shoot two things in it like Womp Rats and the whole thing blows up. It just ruins it for me. It just
people are acting surprised that I didn't play it, which it is surprising because I love Zelda games. I love that franchise, but the reason I didn't play it is because the weapons break. And I'm sure that if I played it, the review you would get from me is, it didn't matter that much. I got over it. Some version of that is what you would hear, but I never took the leap to try it because I was like, oh, your weapons break? That's stupid.
Yeah.
I was okay with it. Here's where I was okay with it. I was like, okay, weapons break, but the Master Sword I'm sure is in there, and I bet when you get that, like the thing that makes the Master Sword feel cool is that it doesn't break, and it doesn't, but you have to recharge it, and that's stupid.
Yeah, it
So,
kind of breaks.
to me, there was a very obvious way to have your cake and eat it too, which is you put the Master Sword in late in the game, or you make it kind of like a low, high tier weapon and have things that are better than it but still break, and then lots of things worse than it that break but make it solid. And that all would have gotten me on board. But then I was like, so is the Master Sword in it? Yeah. And I said, did it break? And somebody says it doesn't break, but you have to recharge it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna play that. So that's how that happened. But
Yeah.
I'm sure if I played it, I would like
You
it.
would probably have less issue than it may seem, but the other problem I had is you don't have unlimited inventory in that game. The inventory's tight, and you can't keep a ton of weapons on you. And the first time, here's where you would quit, in my opinion. You'd get into one of these, what were they called? Not temples. Temples are a separate thing. They were the
Is it shrines?
shrines. There you go.
Koriko?
Yeah.
You'd be in a shrine. Shrines were awesome. Amazing stuff happened in shrines. But in those shrines, you would be fighting something that really did need some military focus. And you've got 3 weapons with you that remain, and 2 of them are now broken, and the third one is a second from breaking, and you might just get them this time, but you need a 4th hit. You only have enough juice in that thing to get a third, but you can't tell because it's not like there's no meter that says how much life that thing has left in it, and then it explodes in your hand, and you have no weapon and no way to beat that creature. You got to zone out of there. You got to get weapons somehow. You got to go back to that location. I just thought it was
seems like an
game
insane
breaking.
thing for a company like Nintendo to put through.
I agree,
I
especially
can
when
see like 100 different, like looking back, even talking about it now, because it's not like it caught on. So it's the only game that did it. and
right.
and I'm thinking Nintendo releases. Like I played Metroid Dread. It had fast travel, save points. It was very convenient to play.
Yeah. And this had that too.
What?
Like that's the other thing is this game had all the other quality of life things that you would expect. It did have an annoying feature where if you wanted to climb a wall, you had a fatigue system. And the fatigue system you could beef up in the same way you can get more hearts, like in a traditional Zelda game.
I think a few other games had it, like Genshin Impact and Phoenix Rising. I think had something like that.
Yeah, and they
it's there in Phoenix.
Yeah, and they adopted that
Stamina's
from
not unheard of.
They adopted that from this. Those all came after, and I think that's fine that they did. But here's the problem: if it's raining, it doesn't matter how much you've earned. You have to wait out the storm because you'll slip off the rocks because rain makes it so you can't climb the thing. It's game breaking and stupid. It's so
Hearing
dumb.
that, I'm like, I'm okay with it a little bit. Like it sounds annoying.
I'm gonna say weirdly, I'm okay with it too.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's more of a. I'm imagining there might be some boots or ways around it.
There
That's
is.
a mechanic that you can easily sort of make like it's an issue until it's not. But the breaking thing is that's the kind of thing where if you're like, I want a gritty, realistic game, where controlling a squad of units, and there's no such thing as hit points. One bullet and you die because it's gritty realism. Like, that's a selling point for a lot of simulation.
Yeah.
It's just I've never thought of Nintendo games as like sort of simulator strategy games. It's a fantasy. It just seems like an odd hill that somebody there in the leadership died on to have it as a meaningful, realistic mechanic. Like,
Yeah.
The only rationale I've ever heard in defense of it is like, well, swords break in real life, but I'm like, Italians don't jump down pipes and go to mushroom lands in real life, you know? Like, it's
that you know.
we're cool, like that I know. Yeah, I shouldn't make assumptions.
Anytime people say that about a video game, I roll my eyes because you're playing a Zelda game. There's a million things that are 100% fantasy elements. And then you're just going to focus on the one and say, "Oh, well, they break in real life too. That's why it's okay."
It's all of a sudden, we're in a milsim. It's like Nintendo for years, fantastical games of fun and delight, and then it's like, but weapons, they break. That's realistic.
Yeah, realistic as hell. So I don't know. I listen. In every other way, that game's a masterpiece. That's really how I feel about it. And I want this to be the follow-up that says, we're going to be another masterpiece, but we're going to tweak this so it's not completely lost. Oh, did I lose everyone? Oh, shit. Hold on. You guys hear me? Now it is. Okay. All right. Everyone at home, you didn't notice this, but I lost internet for a second, but it's back now. Also, I hate when I'm wrong, but your video's fine now. Must have been me.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
It must have been me.
It was me.
I'm glad I redid my entire setup.
I feel kind of bad that you did that now. I feel bad. All right. Anyway, back to where we were. Sorry, everybody. Technical issues.
Are you sending us videos, Scott? Because right now I
shit.
just see.
Are you on the backup ISP
high
now?
etched on your head.
There you are.
There we go.
Yeah, it's the backup ISP. We're good now.
Is it darker now? Do your lights go
out?
out when you go on the backup, or is that how it looked before?
This is how it was
Am I
before.
just imagining it?
No,
Okay.
you're just imagining it. It's all good now.
We've gone into bunker mode here.
Sorry about that, everybody. I don't know what happened. The first one crashed. Thank goodness for backups. Anyway, so where were we? Oh, yeah, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Don't break. Because I don't know if you guys heard me say this, but I really believe this. It's a masterpiece game minus these issues. If these issues weren't in there, it would be my favorite game of all time. I really mean this. I'm not making that up. That's how harsh, that's how much these are a detriment. They take it from 99% down to like 70%. Still a great game, but for me, that's what happens. And I hope this second one says, well, let's reevaluate because we don't have to do it every time the same. And then most Zelda games don't. They change a lot of things game to game. But this game sure looks a lot like that first game visually.
Well, it's got some Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts. That's the joke
Yeah.
in it, which I'm all for. Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts is a fantastic game.
Agreed. Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like Link might be making some sweet rides.
Did you see that
and riding around?
That interview with I can't think of his name.
Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman.
The game that got him out of gaming.
Yeah, the game
Yeah.
that made him quit gaming because he spent 2 weeks in Banjo-Kazooie and realized that all that time just poofed, and he said, "I can't do this," and he quit.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even negative about it. He was just like, "I can't." It was he basically said it was a me thing. I can't do that again.
I mean, he suffered from a Michael Hodgins. That's
Yeah.
one mediocre game swears you off games forever.
Oh, Mike, if you're listening, Banjo-Kazooie is an amazing game. Bo is wrong. It's a fantastic game.
I just wanted to make jokes. It's
No,
fine.
I
You're
know.
fine.
I
Sorry,
love that.
Banjo.
I love that story about Mike and how he won't play fancy, titles.
Oh, they have a Switch in his house.
Oh, they do.
The young lad is softening his hardened heart,
Oh my lord.
and together they've been playing Mario Kart 8.
Oh, look
Oh.
at that.
Speaking of which, that Pedro Pascal SNL skit for Mario Kart, the gritty Last of Us Mario Kart, was some of the best thing I've ever seen them
Was
do.
so good. Poor Chris Pratt trending on Twitter
Yeah.
because he's now the number 5 best Mario.
That's good. When he first turns around and he goes, who are you? And he goes, it's a me. It's a Mario. I just about lost my shit. I
It
laughed
was
so hard.
so good. It was
Honestly,
so good.
Yeah.
You want to resist the Pedro, but you can't resist the Pedro. I'm like,
No.
no. I would happily, rejoice him even as a VA for Mario. Even if he did it weird, I'd still be fine with it.
Yeah, and I would watch that show that they had there. This dystopic Mario Kart would have been.
That was my first thought when I saw that too. I was like, "Oh, Scott's gonna like this."
I loved it.
Yeah.
I was like,
steampunk, post-apocalyptic Mad Max.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I may as well call it, Mad Max Kart or something, which I would also play if that was a video game. But anyway, let's talk about their next game on the list.
Shit, that's a hot game idea.
I know, right? They did it
like Rockatansky Kart or something like that.
Yeah,
yeah,
Mad Max Kart. Or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I don't know why they haven't done it.
Yeah. Doesn't exist.
That's
although
still my favorite video mashup was when they put Mario Kart in Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite edits that anybody has done. It was so good.
That scene when that big tired Immortan Joe car comes flying over the top and snags one of the mystery boxes.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah, I would like more of that, please. Why don't people make more dystopic video games? That's what I want. I guess some people don't, but I like them. Anyway, speaking of dystopia, not really. The Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games are now part of the Switch Online. Not all of them, but they've started with a handful.
I'm happy they're doing it.
Yeah.
Every time they're like, let us show you what games are coming to the service. I'm like, the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Nintendo, I've said this so many times, but I'm going to say it one more time. I would give them so much money a month.
Yeah.
To have access to their library of games to play online when I wanted to play them.
Yep.
And they're like, what if we put Super Mario Land 2 on there?
Yep.
What about Super Mario Land 1? Nope, Super Mario Land 2. That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're putting on there. And it's a better game, sure, but why are we starting with 2?
Also,
why is that
at the most generous? At the most generous, you want to say it has licensed material in it that they no longer have an applicable license for. Let's say.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's your most generous, but I don't know.
We're talking about the first party Mario games.
Yeah.
I know that's the thing. Like that's just at its most generous. That would be the biggest hurdle I can think of that a company probably wouldn't want to talk about because it's business and licensing issues and
sure.
They just don't make it a habit to talk about those things in public, not just Nintendo, right?
I just don't like how they piecemeal it out. Why not just have this library and say, look at all you can have? Like if Game Pass said, hey, we're going to just do a couple now. Here's a couple games. Here's the one more. Ooh, guess what? New month, new game in the game. I mean, start with a big pile. Go nuts.
I'd love if the guy who makes the decision or the committee would come on Core and tell us.
Yeah.
How do you pick what games go on here? Because it seems like John's right. You have a large library, and you started with 2. Where's 1?
Yeah.
What if I wanted to play it chronologically?
Yeah.
I can't.
Nope.
Well, why?
It's weird. It's just bizarre. It's strange. And as soon as they say it, I'm like, oh man, imagine that. We could play this game, we could play this game. And it's none of the games I'm thinking of are there. Or some of them are, because I thought of Metroid Fusion. I was like, oh,
sure.
Metroid Fusion.
Yep.
And they're like, and here's some that will be coming later. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, do them now. You're just emulating them anyway. That's what you're doing. This isn't this is emulation. We already have these games in emulation. So just put them out. It's time gating. It's gatekeeping. I hate it. It's annoying as hell.
Don't even plan to release some of them. Some games they're really slow.
It's weird.
It's a drip feed.
I will say Zelda Minish Cap, speaking of an amazing Mario game or Zelda game, it's my third favorite Zelda game.
No.
Or second, sorry. Wait, hold on. Wind Waker. Yeah, second. I love Minish Cap second. Anyway, it's an amazing game. Incredible game. Fire Emblem's great. You can do that now if you're a subscriber. What it wasn't clear to me is whether you had to be the Plus subscriber thing to get the N64 and Genesis games, if that's now gated for these as well.
I think that's gated for the Advance, is what it sounded like.
Lame.
Yeah, it is. None of it's very good. It's a weird system with weird games, and I know Nintendo making weird decisions, especially around online, is not breaking news.
Yeah, big
but,
shock.
It's just so bizarre to me. But I am excited they exist. I do think it's cool that you can do a filter on whether you want to see like green and gray Game Boy or the like gray and black Game Boy. What was it? It wasn't Advance.
No, just Game Boy.
What was it? Game Boy Pocket? What did they rebrand when they basically changed the color of the screen?
It was Game Boy Pocket when they changed the color of the screen, then Game Boy Color after that.
Yeah,
and you can play.
You can do the Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
And all that. I think that's cool because I have such fond memories of that transition to Game Boy Pocket. Like Game Boy Pocket to me was like the coolest thing
I
ever.
loved it. Yeah.
Especially when you got the one with the backlight on it.
Yeah.
Which made actually the Game Boy Pocket that had a backlight on it really ruined the Game Boy Advance for me because I don't know if you remember this, but when the Game Boy Advance first came out, it was impossible to see that screen.
It was awful, and it was also
you had to be in such perfect conditions to see that thing.
It wasn't,
and
it was
even
also,
then, it didn't look great.
It's also not very ergonomic. It's shaped stupid. The colors were bad. The initial, just like the DS, the first version of the GBA in terms of hardware, ugly, terrible, not useful. People are buying worm lights, like magnifying lenses. What the hell was wrong with us? Like it was bad. But then the SP just solved everything, and it was one of the greatest handhelds of all time.
Yeah, yeah.
So
those revisions of their handheld consoles are absolutely the most incredible consoles ever made.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Their second gens are always great. You could even argue with the Switch, the OLED ones they're just better. Like they just it makes you sad because you know if you're a huge Nintendo fan, you're going to buy whatever the initial model is, but they're always going to have something better. Like a year later, and you're probably going to buy that too.
Well, I tried to wait with the Switch, and while I like the Switch Lite more than the baseline Switch, sorry, Dockers.
Yeah, sorry, Dockers.
I do. But in general, like I waited for the Switch, and like then when they were like, yeah, we're gonna do an OLED version, I was like, that's not the revision I was holding out for.
No,
that's not what I wanted.
No, but they'll do fine with this. Their selection's been pretty decent over time for SNES, NES, and so on. So it's good that they're adding this stuff. I don't think this is going to like curtail emulation. In fact, if anything, they're just going to be annoyed by these limitations and just do it anyway more now than ever.
It makes me want to do emulation more because I'm like, oh yeah, I'd love to be able to play these games on handheld.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a zip file somewhere from someone that has a whole lot of these games on there that I could just go set up on, I don't know, a handheld I spent a lot of money on.
Yeah. With a bigger screen.
And we can make it happen. Yeah, with a real nice screen.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be subscribed to Nintendo Online, although I am.
And save anywhere you want. Or I guess that's true of the online stuff and the service. But anyway, it's a thing. There are more being added. I guess it's good. By the way, I do want to say one really nice thing about Nintendo. During a time where the entire tech world, gaming included, is having a bit of a pullback and firing a bunch of people and cutting costs because we won't get into the economics of it, but basically they need to show growth next year, and the only way to do that is to fire people so next year they have less costs, which means it'll look like growth. Long story short, that's kind of how it works. Anyway, it's kind of happening across the board. Google, Microsoft, everybody. They're all doing it.
Yeah, Nintendo gave everybody so many good years.
That's true. Nintendo and Apple are the only two big tech firms that are not doing it. Apple just Tim Apple, Tim Cook.
Oh, you did it.
Yep, I did
you
it.
did it.
I did it. Tim Apple. Oh my gosh, I don't want to have any. Never mind. So Tim Cook over at Apple took a $50 million pay cut so that they didn't have to fire anybody. So that keeps their shareholders happy. And then the other one was Nintendo, where they're actually investing 10% increase in everybody's pay across the board and no firings. They're basically saying, these are the people that take us into whatever's next. So
they took it instead of taking it away from the CEO, they took it away from the store development team.
Yeah. That's how it feels. It does feel
They're
like,
sorry, no upgrades to the store, but everyone else 10%.
There you go. Boy, that store needs help. Such a garbage store. But Nintendo doesn't seem to care, because why would they care? They led in console sales in the last quarter. The Switch is this weird success. Like, it's so bananas print money making that they don't, people lose their minds over these directs. Like, Sony and Microsoft would love a little bit more of this, this kind of fandom, this kind of like rabid, ready for whatever you tell us thing they got going on. And we're all okay with, well, your online shit sucks, and I don't like friend codes, but please keep making games I love.
And boy, your games aren't looking as good as they used to compared to everything else we're looking at.
Right.
I don't think they're going to do this because they really take their time, but I really think Nintendo's due for just a Switch 2, like a bump upgrade.
Yeah.
Given the popularity of the Steam Deck, if they could just juice a little bit better service, that,
It'd go a long way. I agree.
I think they're getting there. I think this Direct actually kind of signifies it. Like, this Direct had a lot of cool things in it, but it definitely had that feeling of like, we're working on stuff we can't talk to you about right now.
Yeah.
So here's what's left.
Let your library carry over, please.
Oh my gosh, dude! No
Don't make
kidding.
us rebuy on Switch 2.
Here's what I would say. Well, we have a call later. I'll save it for that. But I have a big prediction. Not a call, a message from one of our patrons, and I have a big prediction about Nintendo, and we'll see if it's as big as I think it is. You guys can weigh in.
I'm looking forward to hearing it. Now, we're not done with the Nintendo Direct.
No, we're not. We still got more in there.
So I just want to take a quick second because I got distracted and I saw something weird, and I just want to ask the question.
Okay.
I was on Steam and I tabbed over to the top sellers.
Yeah.
And 1 is Hogwarts Legacy, 2 is Steam Deck. We know this. Apex and Rust are 3 and 4. And then the Valve Index headset is in 5th place. Is there something going on that
they're having a
heard?
sale?
I was just trying to look.
Aren't they having a sale? I think
on the headset. I mean, it's $659 Canadian, but with no controllers. Like to get the base stations, it's an extra $300. So it's still $1,000 for the whole kit.
Let me look it up real quick because I could have sworn they were having some kind of hardware
It's showing
sale.
500 for me. It's not showing as a sale. It does say it's out of stock currently.
Same. That's just the headset.
Oh, that's
like
what
if
it
you go,
is.
If you go in, there's other things, but yeah, I mean, this has been on forever. I don't think that's shocking. I was wondering why it was selling out. I know PS2 VR is coming, but I was like, I thought maybe the price was slashed. I don't know. I just wanted to know if you heard anything. I'm not seeing anything in the news. But
No, I am
why is
surprised.
this a top seller.
I'm surprised to see Steam Deck at number 2. I thought maybe a sale was happening there. Maybe they just got more in stock or something.
I've noticed, and I don't want to necessarily go tinfoil hat on this, but Valve always has something of its in like the top selling.
Yeah, but
can I get a do?
It might be that they're really. I mean, the Steam Deck's a bona fide runaway hit, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
it's
the
in
Steam
there.
Deck doesn't surprise me.
But
Yeah.
the index.
No, it doesn't surprise me either, but it's a little weird, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Like why is Counter-Strike at number 3 at the moment? What happened there?
I mean,
I just think we don't know what the tracking is for it, how they judge it. Maybe there's a little like we made it pride, bump it up the charts a little bit in there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I'm asking somebody if it isn't a sale and it's not Christmas and like Index, no one's talking about Index, right? Quest still gets talked about.
Yeah.
PS2, it's not. I'm just trying to find a correlation as to why so many people bought a Valve headset
Yeah.
today. Like I'm just like, what?
It
And
is
if it was
weird.
cheap, I was like, oh, is there a sale? Like, or what's going on? Is there a new headset come? Like, what is this signal?
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's seemingly nothing, but I guess John's right. Gabe's cheating.
Yeah. Maybe.
I didn't say that.
He's just
but
saying
it
tinfoil
might have
hat,
been
maybe.
highly implied.
Yeah. I don't know if
It
you
just
guys
caught my attention. I had to ask.
I put it up on Twitter earlier this week. I'd like to share it again now. The original OG Twitch page. Have you guys looked at that before? It's amazing.
Oh yeah. Or you mean Steam?
Steam,
The
I mean,
original
not
Steam?
Twitch. I don't know why I said
Yeah, I remembered it. I didn't. If you had asked me, hey, what did it used to look like, I wouldn't have been able to tell you. But the second I saw it, I was like, oh right, this
Twitch.
monstrosity.
Yeah, this green freaking army green looking weird thing, but it was just, I mean, all it was on the front was Half-Life 2 and how to buy it. The Counter-Strike Condition Zero, which is not, that's the Source 2 transplant of the original mod, basically. They had, what else is here? Day of Defeat was really highly featured, which I used to play a ton of. I used to love that game. Anyway, that's really it. Like, there's an art book.
every time I get mad at the Steam UI, I just need to remind myself that their color scheme used to be military green.
Yeah, dude. And it's what? 2005 was launch. So people are so skeptical of this. Who's going to download games? And
People were pissed.
they were mad. Yeah.
You want to talk about gaming controversies? I don't know if there was a bigger one than they're making me install this bullshit called Steam.
Yeah.
I don't want Steam. I'm sure those words came out of my mouth.
I guarantee they came out of everyone's mouth. And the thing is, here I am. I probably said that too. I was like very skeptical at the time. And here I am, 2,000 games in my library, however many years later.
What was your first game?
Probably Half-Life 2.
I think most people probably Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
Because it required it to install it, and I think it might have been the launch with it.
Yeah. I think that was why people were mad. They're like, you're going to make me install this just to play Half-Life 2, and people still did, of course. Pretty sure that's my first.
You can load all your transactions. Well, maybe it only goes back so far.
Yeah, it might not.
It's listing my first transaction as Borderlands 1 back in 2010.
Oh, wow. 5 year. Could that have been the game you first played on?
Yeah,
there
I think that was close because all points. I also played APB. I pre-ordered APB. Remember the online GTA game?
Yeah, I remember.
Man, I loved playing some APB.
Yeah,
it had potential.
Awesome.
APB was fun.
It had some serious potential. I felt like they didn't give it enough time to figure.
And I liked being a cop. It was actually kind of like, usually everyone wants to be a bad guy.
Yeah,
it's fun as hell chasing down bad guys and cuffing them, making them sit.
Yeah.
Well, surprise you all, not at all. That one of my favorite things was designing my own police uniform in that game.
Oh, I'm shocked by this.
I'll look like a sick police officer. Look at me go.
Yeah.
You know what else? An early purchase of mine was Blur, which I remember you talking about on the final score of the racing game Blur.
Oh yeah,
that was one of the first Scott recommends.
I loved Blur.
Dude, just like listeners in chat or listening to this show and be like, I'm gonna buy that game because they talked about it.
You can't even buy Blur now.
Scott was like, I love Blur as a great racing game, and I was like, maybe Scott knows something about racing games, and I bought it and I liked it.
Yeah, Blur is great. Blur is basically grown up Mario Kart because it had all the Mario Kart trappings, but you were in these like modern, awesome cars. It had kind of a Tron vibe to everything. That's a cool game.
You can't buy Blur.
No, it's off the store. I don't know why.
It's just disappeared. I think I can still download it.
You can because you own it. You're legally bound to it. But if you didn't buy it, you can't get it on Steam. I had it on PlayStation or something. That's
nuts the way these online stores do that. Stuff just disappears.
Okay, my first game, $20, 2005 for Counter-Strike Source. So I played original Counter-Strike Source on there. Then Left 4 Dead 2. Where's my copy of?
How do you see this?
You go
to Steam on the top left. Go to Settings, and right on the account page on the top right, View Account Details. Then View Purchase History and then scroll down. Load more transactions. It should load everything. Scroll to the bottom.
Unreal Tournament 3, World of Goo, Sacred Gold, Left 4 Dead 2, Mass Effect 2. That was 2010. Let's see, Freedom Pack, whatever the hell that was. Trine back in 2010.
Yeah, I got Magic Duels of the Planeswalkers, the very first one.
Yeah.
My first one is the Orange Box.
Oh, that makes sense.
Probably because I was probably pretty slow to actually purchase games through Steam.
Yeah, a lot of people were. You're not.
I sailing the high seas before Steam, probably.
Half-Life 2 was a physical copy of a game, which is where the whole I shouldn't have to use Steam. I bought a box copy of this game, and I probably did that with a lot of things. So yeah, I guess Orange Box would be the initial showing of that change.
Wild.
Mine goes the Orange Box, then Mass Effect, then World of Goo. Those are my
do
first
you
three.
guys remember World of Goo's up there too? They must have given that away or something. Let's see.
I remember just World of Goo was one of the first, this is an indie game kind of thing. So.
Yeah, it was $5.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense.
You're right. I notice here, where did it go? I lost it. Damn it.
One of my early ones was the Transformers War for Cybertron game.
Yeah, that game was cool, man. I like that game.
I love that. Those first two were really great.
Yeah, I wish they'd get back to that. Super Meat Boy was a big deal on Steam for me. That was a couple years in. Yeah, it's weird.
I bought KOTOR in 2010. Still haven't played it.
Really?
So
oh my Lord.
The addiction is a decade old. The buying problem is a decade old.
Wow. Now what you need to do is buy the remaster when they finally finish it, and then wait 10 years for that. Yeah. Don't play that for 10. That's fantastic. Anyway, sorry, detour there.
A bit of a detour. Sorry, I just wanted to. I guess we don't.
No, it's all good. I don't think we know, but that is weird. It's a little weird.
Top seller, guys.
I mean, I feel like people are going to think Valve prioritizes their stuff sometimes, but maybe they don't.
Well, I'm inclined to believe it because I'm like, I don't know.
Maybe they have a weird way of filtering like the hardware category, which they would pretty much own, to be included in that list in some way. Like
one purchase counts for 4 ticks of the.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
I don't know.
Or it's on a per dollar basis, so it's like not unit like SKUs, but dollars. Yeah. So one headset is like 10 games if you buy the $1,000 edition. You know, maybe something.
They might be doing that.
They might have sold 5 headsets.
That's wild. That was back in the day when Steam was unknown. Now we all love it. So shows what we know. We don't know what we want until we want it. Advance Wars 1 and 2, speaking of which, thing I do want this. 1+2 is finally coming. It has a new release date, April 21st. I guess Nintendo's like, I mean, the Ukraine-Russia thing's not over. In fact, it seems like things are escalating.
There's always a conflict somewhere in the world.
There is. I think Nintendo's just like, we should probably just go ahead and let that out and release it.
I would definitely say the news cycle, it's still in the news, obviously, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not as front and center. So,
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that game, though, quite a bit. I love Advance Wars. So I love how the new version just looks insanely cool to me. So I will be getting that game when it hits in April. And then they did a thing that up till this week, Microsoft was just being famous for, and that is dropping a Phantom game nobody knew existed. And for Microsoft, it was Hi-Fi Rush, which did extremely well, both critically and sales-wise and Game Pass usage-wise. And then Nintendo did their own, and they released Metroid Prime Remaster out of nowhere. Nobody knew it was coming. No leaks, no nothing. They just said, hey, it's up on the digital store right now. Physical versions will be on pre-order in a couple of days. And they did just that. In fact, as of today, the pre-orders are live for physical versions of Metroid Prime Remaster. I haven't gotten it yet. I'm waffling back and forth about it. Technically, I own this game twice on GameCube, and then later on the Wii. Yep, and so part of me is like, well, I already did this, but I also really love that first game, and I could emulate it and feel okay about it because I, again, bought it twice already. So what's the point of buying it 3 times? But I'm hearing a lot of cool things, like there's some extra content in there and some levels that weren't there before. There's some narration that only the Japanese and the European markets got that we didn't get. From who's your main lady on Mass Effect? The actress. My brain just went dead.
Jennifer Hale.
Jennifer Hale does it. She plays Samus's voice in it, and it's supposed to be really good. It is also extremely well emulated on the Steam Deck, so I know I don't know where to go with this, except to say it is finally a thing, and it's out. And they didn't talk about Prime 4, which is the news everybody was looking for. And I also kind of thought this was Zelda, Wind Waker was going to get announced for the Switch. I really felt like that rumor had feet, but it didn't. But that's kind of cool. So now what does Sony do? Sony's the only one that hasn't like dropped a mystery game out of nowhere at an event. Do you think they'll have something lined up like, and now it's Candy Crush Nathan Drake? Or something like, what do you think they got up their sleeve? Probably nothing. But
I don't know. My understanding is that company, unless they can put out Call of Duty, can't make anything.
Well, that's what they've said. They've claimed. Yeah,
it's probably Call of Duty. It's gonna be the next thing they announce because it's their company is done if they don't get to sell that.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. I kind of hope. I do think that'd be cool though if Sony had a unleaked, previously unannounced day and date release. That'd be fun.
I'd love that. I mean, selfishly, I would want it to be the next Spider-Man game.
Yeah,
because I want the next Spider-Man game.
Yeah, same. But they're not going to do that. That thing's going to have
months of no, not in a million years. No.
You do remasters like this or games that don't have a previous footprint like Hi-Fi Rush, and you can get away with it.
It's in that middle thing where it's something desirable or really saleable, but not a top line thing where you want to build hype, but you'll sell a lot.
Maybe that
if you think there's like a pattern to the products, right? Like Beloved Remake, boom. And people have been waiting for a long time. Hi-Fi Rush, like it's literal eye candy, like from a studio you're not expecting it from, curiosity alone.
Yeah.
And it's a good game. They know when they have a good game, I think sometimes.
That's such a good game. I need to get in there and finish it, but I really like it. All right. Well, we'll see what happens moving forward. But that was a lot of people real happy with the Direct, mainly on the front of Tears of the Kingdom news. That also has a release date in May, and you can pre-order that $70 behemoth now. Apparently, it's also the largest, gigabyte-wise, largest game Nintendo's ever made. So, including the last.
Really?
That's where your extra $10 is going.
Yep. All those extra
This
gigabytes.
game is the most gigabytes of Nintendo game?
Yep, of all time. Never been a bigger game.
You know what? You know what's sad? There's a bit of sadness with this.
What's
Just
that?
because of how litigious Nintendo is. But I want this in VR.
It ain't gonna. Well, I shouldn't say it shouldn't happen. Fans make shit happen.
They'll
right?
take their the DMCA is just too strong with Nintendo, or not DMCA, but the legal takedown, CNC or C&D.
Yeah,
it's
a lot of it's backroom though. Like you can go play that game, Breath of the Wild. You can play that on a PC pretty easily. Like it exists as a thing, and it's kind of underground though. It's not super out there.
Yeah,
it's not
but
like
it does need to be modded. It needs a home on the internet. As soon as it comes out, everyone hears about it, and then the Nintendo finds out.
Yeah. Yeah, and they gave him a 10% raise over there in the legal department, so they're about to get even more.
Yeah. Good job, guys. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like it should be illegal actually for companies to ask modded VR games taken down, because you're only really changing the display adaptation, right? Like they're not offering a complete download of the game. It's like, what if I want my images jumbled on two different monitors?
Yeah.
Like I could do that here. It's just, you know what I mean? It's not actually modding, and like, anyways.
Someone in the chat asked
for another time.
Chat asked if the Metroid Prime game is maybe just a ROM hack. No, they went through it's a proper remaster. There's an alternate control system. There's new content. There's this isn't just them. They didn't just put a ROM on the thing and say here's a brand new thing. It's like graphically everything's improved. It's a huge upgrade. So
yeah, the textures look way better.
Although I have one issue to take with somebody I saw online who made this big deal on Twitter about how he goes, in Metroid Prime Remastered, if you hold her gun up into the sky or in the rain, the little beads of rain, when you're holding it straight, they just sit there. But when you lift the gun up, they drip down toward the player. This remaster's out of control. And I said, the old GameCube game did the exact same damn thing. People think that they forget how advanced that game was.
Oh, they're
time.
giving the remaster credit for things that shouldn't have.
It did crazy stuff. If you fired the gun too much, the gun barrel would smoke. Like they had all sorts of interesting touches.
Yeah, and it looked beautiful then. It's still in emulation, looks beautiful now, and this definitely looks like a resolution bump and texture bump and all of that. But it was already a pretty impressive game for 20 years old. So yeah, I'm still on the fence about what I want to do, but it's $39, not so bad. They're not charging $70 for this, nor should they. And $39 feels about right to me for a proper remaster.
If you're not interested in playing it right now, it'll go on sale sometime.
Maybe. Nintendo so rarely does sales for their own stuff, but maybe.
They did a sale in Christmas, and I was going to buy A Link to the Past, that $80 remake.
Yeah.
And I forgot to buy it. I logged into my Switch to check it out, and I was like, oh shit, I never clicked purchase.
Well,
It was back to $80.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Hopefully that'll go on sale again, because that is a very cool
year.
game. That's a very cool conversion, that game. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to our patron message of the week. This is from Kissy Bears. He's one of our patrons over at patreon.com/core show. You know Kissy Bears. He's on your streams a lot. I see him hanging out in there.
Yeah, Kissy Bears. Been with us for a long time.
Yeah. Says, what's your hot take, irrational, or craziest prediction for something that will happen in the games industry in 2023? As an example, Nintendo begins manufacturing the SNES and N64 again due to popularity and will be available for purchase by spring, that sort of thing. I don't know about outrageous, but
I like irrational.
I think that this fall is Switch 2 territory, and that might be irrational because there's no other indicators about this, but I think that they get up and announce and it will be a holiday ready-to-buy device.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah,
that's big.
That's the irrational part, probably.
All right, who's making the device? I missed the company.
Nintendo Switch 2. It will happen by this.
Oh, That's your.
That's my crazy. If it's even that crazy, it's probably not that crazy.
I don't know if it's that crazy because that was 100% mine, and now I'm trying to think of a second one. Not that it would be this year. I think that would be crazy, but yeah. I don't think it will be this year.
What if Switch 2 is announced and launched next year?
Yeah, probably.
Not next year. Like the next day.
Oh,
like no, that's
do a direct. Like because. Who would know about it? Because it would be very close in design to what we have now. It would just be the OLED screen, an NVIDIA, whatever, Hoo-Ha 5000 in there.
Yeah. The NVIDIA Hoo-Ha 5000. I can't wait.
Whatever, the latest NVIDIA, Tegra, blah, 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 whatever hardware.
Yeah.
Just like a souped up, great, up-res,
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to like reinvent the wheel with every console release. I feel like they could really get away with the Steam Deck analog, and they could probably be a little more stealthy about the manufacture of the new thing potentially too.
Yeah,
maybe.
I agree with that.
I've got a second. Seeing as Scott took mine, I've got
a
second crazy prediction for this year.
All right.
You are gonna see a Game Pass app on another console. Be it Nintendo or Sony.
Wow.
Somewhere else, you're going to see Game Pass as a launchable thing.
That is a crazy prediction.
Hardware.
I would love that, first of all. Second of all, I'll bet that happens sooner.
Game Pass on Switch 2.
I mean, they claim they went to Nintendo and said, "Can we do this?" And Nintendo turned them down. It doesn't mean that they couldn't do it in the future, or Sony's probably also turned that idea down. But I don't think it's that crazy, given the growth of Game Pass and how this would be a big deal. At least the streaming part of Game Pass. Like if you said for $9 a month, or part of the top tier of PlayStation Network includes Game Pass, that just seems like something they wouldn't do from a pure pride standpoint. But pride does things, man. Eventually, Sonic and Mario were in the Olympics together. I'll mind you,
they were Olympians together, and they hated each other a lot.
Yep. I mean, that stuff happens in gaming. It may take a lot longer, so that's why it's crazy for this year, but I like it. I like where your head's at. What do you think about a proper Steam Deck, like download it through the Steam Deck store, no hackery on the back end, Game Pass, proper Game Pass app on
I can see that happening. It seems like Microsoft and Valve are repairing their relationship, because it was pretty bad. I mean, when you think of Steam boxes and the big push for Linux, that was all driven on a Gabe Newell was like, "I'm done with Microsoft."
Yeah.
Like that was what drove all of that business.
Yeah.
So they have had some bad blood, but I feel like they are getting over that. And I think when you see things like Redfall requiring a linked Steam account as something coming up, I think you're seeing issues with hardware communicating with each other, or systems communicating with each other, that they're clearly both trying to work together to overcome. And I think a logical next step for something like that would be, well, let's just find a way to make these platforms more compatible.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny because the push toward Linux is what got them to where they are with Proton, which ironically is a Linux-based product that is really good at emulating the environment you need to make Windows run right, or to run games that were designed for Windows. And so, in a weird way, that fight led to a better Steam Deck. What Steam Deck is today is better because of that fight, and that will probably lead to better relations with them because it's so easy to run Windows shit on Proton. It's funny. It's funny how that all works out. And I don't know, if Gabe Newell even knew it. He's just sitting back playing, Heroes of the Storm or whatever. I don't know what he does.
Playing that game in Aliens where they do the knives between the fingers.
That's it? Just to himself?
Yeah, he's faster than Bishop at this point.
14.
Yeah,
that's you doing, Scott?
Scott, you're not going to have any regrets for doing that hand animation on stream.
Nope.
It's a shame that Jamie can't get mashups from visuals off this thing.
Well, let's see, if Zoe's here, she's already gifting it. I'm sure that's what she does.
Yep, gif it.
Yeah, I regret it. Anyway, There you go. Bo, I'd like to hear your big, crazy end-all prediction.
I don't have any hot flashes of insight today.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Craziest predictions. Yeah, no, I don't.
How about VR? Let's see.
I mean, it's pretty easy, right?
VR will become successful. Crazy.
Yeah, well, yeah, Meta making a profit seems like a crazy thing for sure to predict. But
yeah, would they sink?
I want it to be like somewhat accurate, or I believe in it. You know,
sure.
Make a joke.
But they lose like 14 point something billion in their VR Labs division.
I said 4 billion. But
I thought it was higher. It was a lot.
Mark's a believer.
Yeah, he is.
He's a weirdo, but he's a believer. No, I mean, if you're into VR, you're happy to watch a guy torch money to fund the future of your product. Like even if the worst case scenario, Facebook Meta goes out of business, idiot CEO burns everything on VR, whatever progress he makes might lay the foundation for something else in 20 years down the line, and then it's the best thing ever. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy for him when everyone's like, reporting it as a bad thing, and I just see it as a good thing. Guy burns his wealth and his company's wealth on cool technology. Like, yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
I've been dreaming of VR since I was a teenager, and I'm only happy to see people spend time on it.
Sure. How about Sony doing a new handheld? That'd be cool. Somebody in the chat mentioned that. I think Sony stopping with the Vita was a mistake. I think that they had an opportunity there. They had limited vision on where handhelds were headed, and they were headed in the direction of what the Switch is, this dockable, more media-focused device. The Steam Deck is another advancement of that. Like, I think Sony should have stuck to it for a bit longer. And I loved my Vita, and I loved my PSP, although I hated the UMD drive. That sucked. And I hated the PSP's the Vita's reliance on memory sticks from Sony and no other memory type. I hated that. Outside of that, though, those games are rad. The device was cool. I wish Sony was still at the handheld thing.
I think Sony sometimes just gets this, like, we could be Nintendo. And they just they go the wrong way about it. You know, you get that impression when they were like, we could make a Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
We got beloved characters like Kratos and Parappa the Rappa. We'll be the next Smash Brothers, everybody. We're gonna do it. I just think sometimes they use Nintendo as a model for what they should do, and I don't think it translates 1-to-1. And I think their idea of let's do a handheld that is really, really powerful and prestige and super expensive and super powerful to go alongside our console that is really expensive and super prestige. Like, it's just never going to work. I think they could do a handheld, but I think they need to rethink it and stop trying to do exactly what Nintendo did, because it's not going to work for them.
Right. I agree with that. I just remember some really heady days early in the PS4 days, so post 2013, when they were still supporting the Vita, still had games coming. But moreover, they were making it really easy for me to take my Vita and connect to my PlayStation in the house and play that PlayStation game. Well, now they call it just remote play or whatever, right? You can do it on your phones and stuff. But you could do it directly to the Vita, and it was like, oh, man, imagine the next generation Vita. It'll play games like this, but natively. Oh, man, can't wait for this. And they had it was OLED by design. That thing shipped the first model with an OLED screen back then. It just had potential, but the 2 gigabyte memory sticks were like $400 or something.
It was insane.
It made no sense. They shot themselves in the foot by yet again trying to push their own format, and they thought, well, we don't want to do SDs. Why? Because we didn't invent that format. We want all the royalties for it. It's just like Betamax again. It's just like mini discs again. It's like all this. Sony and their hang-ups on format wars drives me up a tree, which is really nothing to do with gaming. It's a whole different part of the company that give a shit about that. But, it annoyed me. Anyway, I'd love that. There's a crazy prediction. Sony has a new handheld. What would they call it? The Sony
PS5 portable.
PS5 no, because then it limits them to the 5. You got to go PlayStation.
The PSP2.
Walkman.
The PlayStation the Pocket PlayStation.
Pocket
PPS.
PlayStation, PSP. Just like the old PSP. Oh, no, that'd be PPS, wouldn't it? PPS.
Yeah.
which is postscript, postscript. I don't know.
Yep.
It all gets very confusing. Thanks for the question. We love it. Kissy Bears. We'll get more from our fine folks on Patreon as the show continues down the road. We are now going to talk about our week in gaming. Games we played. None of us played anything that was all the same this week, so we're going to dive into our individual choices, and I'd like to blame something on John, if you please.
Hell yes.
Yep. This is John's fault.
Another
I haven't been blamed for enough today. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, and you were, by the way, wrongly blamed for enough today. I feel bad about that. I was like, oh, it's got to be on John's side. This is the only common denominator. No, it was me the whole time. Anyway, at least I think so. I played ESO. Why did I get back into ESO and played a ton of it this week? Well, two reasons. One, the most recent expansion or chapter I hadn't gone too far into because by the time I got that, WoW had hit and it was time to explore what WoW was doing, and I just kind of got off for a while. Here's why John's at fault. He's been doing housing in Final Fantasy XIV, which I think we're going to hear the summation of today. And you got me wanting to fiddle with housing in an MMO, but I don't want to I don't even want to try to recover account stuff for Final Fantasy to do it. So I'm like, well, I have ESO. It's free to play. Let's get in there. Let's see what's going on. I already bought some housing in there. I just never did much with it. And so I did. Now I've got this big grotto house thing that's like this big, I don't even know what to call it. It's almost like a dungeon that I purchased that I'm going to start decorating. And I've got like weird creatures walking around in there now. I've decorated it with some furniture that I have. I've got recipes to build my own. So I'm going to build up my furniture building skills. You can make your own shit. I'm going to have some fun in there. So I've been doing that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Be a regular Nick Offerman in the ESO world.
Yep, it's and I will say I can't compare them because all I've seen is you stream it and watch others do the Final Fantasy housing stuff. But I think the housing in ESO is pretty good, really good. I think it's solid as hell and easy to use. And I don't know, it reminds me of my old I'm trying to think like the old Halo 3 Forge days. It reminds me of just kind of moving stuff around in 3D and whatever.
I mean, it's ultimately like, adult Animal Crossing.
Right.
Like, hey, we're really getting into it now.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be the more advanced version of it.
Right.
It scratches that same itch for me.
Yeah, it's very much like that. And it has some really nice little perks. Some of the house I got is pretty big, but there are some that are so big, you're decorating not just this castle you bought, but you're decorating and building out the courtyard and the lead up to it and the gate area and like a huge fountain pool thing in the back of it, and it's up against the ocean, and you can put statues out there and just a bunch of wild stuff in that game. And the other thing I like about it is we were talking about last week about, Final Fantasy's got this system where it's like, well, if you buy this land, you got to put a bid on it, and then you got to go get the bid, and then if you got it, you need to upkeep it or else it's going to get taken away. And it has a real physicality to it. Everything in here is you zone into everything. So it's like, everybody can buy, if they have the money, they have the gold or the wherewithal to get it, they can all buy this certain castle or this certain grotto or whatever. And you just instance into it, and you can do it from anywhere. You can be in some other part of the world and you can basically teleport there. You kind of fast travel right to it. You can also preview all the housing by just zoning into a preview and looking at it fully furnished or not. You can populate it with NPCs and stuff you've collected. All your mounts can walk around in there if you want. And you can put them on paths, which is kind of fun. So I can tell like a spider mount to just like move around the room looking all like creepy and stuff. It's cool. I like it. And you got me all into it again. And also I'm clearing out a bunch of quests and having fun. And I already had a high level character and I'm just having a good time in there. Yes, it was great.
Keeps up week over week. I'm going to have to do something about this.
What are you going to do about it?
Bo's going to be a Sims player.
Stage an intervention. If we're like 6 weeks from, and both of you are like my house, and my house and my MMO that we don't even play together because they're different MMOs. I'm gonna have to be like, listen.
I know it is weird.
It's time to branch off. We're gonna do MMO homemaking with Scott. And John.
The problem is obviously these are completely two different systems, and then the other MMOs have their own systems. Like none of this is going to be similar, but there is something about the feeling that you own the space and that you can do in there what you want with it. Like John's draw to that is I didn't question it. I understand it, but I hadn't been compelled by it until you were talking so much, and now I really like it. So thanks a lot.
I'm making you enjoy the full MMO experience. You know, you're getting another piece of the pie now.
Yeah, and it does.
I think
go ahead.
I think what I would just love to see if John fully you know how I kind of descended into VR.
Yeah.
If John descended into interior decorating, he's like, I've got a list of clients this week.
I have a calling now, guys.
You know, Raziel's home. I went and I provided some advice on how to make up their home.
Yeah, there's a lot of neat.
There's
stuff.
there's content there, like a TLC Home and Garden channel, but for Final Fantasy homes or something.
That'd be fun, right? Yeah, there's your. Hey, that's someone probably does that on YouTube.
So, right? Someone has to do that. There are people that you can pay in Final Fantasy to build your home for you.
Yeah, there's no way somebody's not doing
real
that.
money.
Well, in theory, you're just paying the in-game money, but I'm sure there are real money transactions happening.
Yeah.
But they're not going to talk about it.
No.
I mean, that's like a whole other level. Once we get to the economics of an MMO space, that's really interesting. All of a sudden, it's very fascinating.
Yeah. I think it's super interesting. And some of this, look at this stuff right here. This guy, and went back. Look at the wild shit you can get in this game. I haven't seen this kind of thing, the stuff in this room here I'm showing you, Chad, and you guys can see it. Yeah, it's ornate as hell. It's just, and there's just tons of animation and lighting. And like I said, if you have a favorite mount, he can be standing next to your bed, keeping an eye on you or something.
I mean, that actually looks really cool, which is not Elder Scrolls at all.
Right. That game's come along. I don't think John's seen enough of the game.
It doesn't look very Elder Scrolls. It looks, but there's a lot of crossover to Final Fantasy. What I'm seeing.
See, Bo knew exactly what I was talking about.
There's magic and colors, and
there was already magic and colors in this game. I think you guys are short shrifting.
Not really
this game.
In the Elder Scrolls world.
Well, okay.
In Elder Scrolls, their definition of fancy is we called it glass, and it has green crystals.
Okay, fair point. But I will say that. Okay, you know what? 100% that's Skyrim. 100% that's what's the one before that? Morrowind. All that. You are totally right. ESO has not mired itself in that. It has branched out in the entire game. Like questing isn't that. The world itself is full of color and full of fantastical shit like that. So this actually explains a lot about the beef we have between the two MMOs. I think you have a vision of it that is very Skyrim-y, and I think they've veered away from that.
I've played it. I think it's a good game. I just don't. It doesn't scratch the itch I want.
It doesn't have a lot of anime shit. I will give you that.
One thing I will say too that is nice about these things, like rather than just playing a homemaking game, is your adventures out in the world can get you trophies, which you can put on display. Like that's. I've always think that Doom Eternal has that in the castle ship. You have a room where your collectibles show up, like that kind of stuff. I dig that kind of stuff.
I do too.
There's an element of that to the MMO homemaking. So,
this has that where you'll do a certain big mega quest and you'll get the head of a dragon that was really hard to deal with or something. And you take it back and mount it on the wall or whatever.
That's like cool. What? Yeah. Anyways, we talk about it every week. I'm gonna skip. WoW is sorely missing something like that. The achievement list isn't cutting it.
I love it though. I love that the housing thing is not a source of irritation for you, but this whole idea of you got to do an intervention is.
I'm just
funny.
worried that we're descending further, not because it's like, oh yeah, we all go through phases. I'm playing Borderlands still, it's cool, whatever. We're gonna do that.
Sure.
But I'm like, uh-oh. John every week's got a housing update. It's cool. It's this thing. Now, if we get to a point where Scott and John have a housing update every week for the next 3 months, I might start getting a little.
We're not going to do
cranky. That's all.
We won't do that. I promise.
I'm mostly just making jokes for this. For the
no. I get it. No, it's all good. And who knows how long?
Do what you want and ignore me, please.
Who
Bo
knows?
has to speak for the listeners that are sitting there going, "Why the hell are they talking about MMO?" He's giving them a relatable point. It's the same role I fulfill when you guys talk about VR.
Yeah. 100%. I get it. To end the ESO thing, I also just having fun in the world again. It's a cool game. And I always do this pattern. I play WoW until it feels grindy. And then I go, oh yeah, right. I like ESO because all these stories and voiceover and stuff. Like at the end of the show today, you're going to hear Liam O'Brien yell, listen.
I have gold.
Anyway, he has gold. He's all over this
finest
game.
work.
He's so all over this game. Who played?
Can I hear it again, please?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Here you go.
I have gold.
He's an NPC that's got gold. But I
love it.
And everything's voiced, and I love that. But who's the guy? Okay, in Lord of the Rings, you got the two hobbits, not Samwise and Frodo, but the other two. What are their names?
Merry and Pippin.
Okay, Pippin is the one that was on Lost. Merry was the other one. Okay, so Merry's the one that was singing while the gross king was eating like olives or whatever.
Tomatoes,
right.
Eating tomatoes in a way that really makes me uncomfortable whenever I eat cherry tomatoes.
Right.
Yes.
So last night, this was wild. I'm playing the new expansion. I'm in the Breton, whatever. And they send me to this gaming hall on this quest, and I'm like, what is this place? They want me to play cards with them? How are they going to represent this? I didn't know this, but they created an entire kind of Gwent, the game isn't like Gwent, but Gwent style inserted an entire playable card game into ESO. So the camera pans out, it's a table, it's full of animated cards. You're playing Hearthstone style, like Let's Go, like a literal card game within the game. And I didn't even know that was a thing. That was like news to me.
Wow.
Yeah, that was crazy to me. But the guy who's teaching me how to play, I swear, is the dude that plays Merry.
Is it like Orlog?
He does a lot of voice acting. Speaking of Liam, he's doing voice acting in their current season of the Critical Role show.
Oh,
Legend of Vox Machina.
Merry
he plays
Merry is?
Yeah, well, both of them actually. One was in season 1, the other's in season 2.
I did not know that was him. Okay, well then maybe not that it would be. It's not like the weirdest thing to hear that Billy Boyd might be doing voice work for a video game, but it surprised me. But then I remembered ESO is full of famous voices, like who played the not the dead Dumbledore, but the newer one, Michael Gambon. He's all over that game. Dude from Monty Python. No one's name's coming to me today.
John Cleese.
John Cleese is all over ESO. The guy from Fargo that puts Steve Buscemi in a wood chipper. He's in it.
Blonde hair.
Peter Stormare.
Peter Stormare.
Peter Stormare.
Yeah.
I always think of the things they did before I think of their names, but
you
anyway.
say Fargo, and now because it's a TV show, like the repertoire of actors that opens up as like potential Fargo cast is insane.
Yeah, it really is. Oh my gosh. And even just saying Fargo makes me in the mood to watch Fargo. But anyway, it's cool. That game's rad. I like ESO a lot. I'm going to be playing more of that just because. Oh, and it's running on my Steam Deck, which I love. It runs on my Mac, which I'm happy to have when I'm on a long meeting, and it of course runs beautifully on my PC. So, and it supports DLSS2, the NVIDIA thing. It supports that now. Very noticeable in lower performance environments. I think all games should do that shit. It's really cool. AMD has their own thing too, whatever it's called. It's some other name, but anyway. I like AI for 3 things. AI is good at predictive text. AI is very good at upscaling video game stuff and making it look amazing and run at beautiful frame rates when you shouldn't be able to otherwise. And it's really good at that, not static AI art, but the ones, have you seen the ones that just kind of morph into weird shit? You guys know what I'm talking about? Like AI that's like, it'll start with like a picture of
the
chilling.
wild where it's like a drug trip.
Yeah,
almost.
dude. I could watch that stuff all day. I love that.
I haven't seen that.
Stuff's weird.
We got somebody out there in the chat. Find a good example of it. It's usually like dark and weird. Doesn't have to be, but it's amazing.
It's also pretty good at fake Seinfeld episodes until like there's a software update and it gets banned on Twitch.
Yeah, until they do.
I mean, it wasn't that. I watched it for a bit. It was,
I mean, it was a weird.
I think the thing
novelty.
that bugged me is the characters never faced each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of them like
George is in the
walking,
corner,
doing
Elaine's
thing.
walking over that direction, and they're having a convo, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Did you not watch? Did the AI not watch sitcoms and realize actors face each other?
Yeah, that was weird.
No, my pet peeve from it is when they would be telling a story, but then the characters that were in a role would switch. So like there was one where it was the George stand-in. I don't know the new names, but the George stand-in was like, man, I'm really worried I'm not going to be able to pass my driver's test. I studied and studied, but I was just worried I wasn't going to get it. And then Jerry's like, what did you do? And he's like, well, I just kept studying. And then Jerry, for some reason, is like, but I passed.
No, Jerry
And I
says
was like,
he
wait a
passed.
minute, wait a minute. You weren't the one taking the test.
That's
Like,
why I loved
those
it,
little
because
things irritated me so much.
But that's why I liked it. The discordance and brokenness of it is what I like about AI. What I will hate about AI is when they do this perfectly. Then I'll be irritated. I like that it's busted.
They kind of nailed it before getting banned in the meta commentary. You know they got banned,
Oh yeah,
right?
oh yeah,
Yeah, I saw.
Which is another. So there's a whole thing in the science of AI about bias being built into these things, human bias. And so on all sides of whatever you think of as human bias, people are training these things. Therefore, they are us, kind of. So when they make a bad joke about something, make a bad gay joke or some other horrible thing, whatever it is, it's us.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what the creator said. Like, the creator, as far as I know, at least in the interview I read, wasn't arguing or disputing the ban. He basically was like, yeah, we switched to a different version that used a different moderation system, and this moderation let it through, which is a testament to our biases being in there. One moderation tool says this is not acceptable. Another moderation tool says, no, that's totally fine. And, it turns out very offensive.
Yeah,
so
I find that fascinating, that part of this stuff. Like, part of me hates where AI is headed. Part of me likes where it's headed. Part of me thinks it's funny. Part of me thinks it's scary. And there's a whole other part of me that's excited for what it might bring.
The latest on the Chat GPT that I saw, which I hadn't even considered, is people are using it to write malware.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, well, wait a second. What?
And good malware, like malware that works and F's up people bad.
Yeah. They're like, oh, shit. Can you help us with our spam? Like, we're criminals, so we cut corners anyway. So why don't you just write our spam and malware and phishing emails, please?
No, I mean, this is what the humans do. We jump on it and take it for all it's worth. Like, think about, I don't know. Like, I had a friend that worked at Facebook in on the moderation team. This before a lot more of it was automated, but they still have humans involved, and they had to see the most heinous videos, snuff videos, horrible abuse videos.
Who worked on this team too, and they talk about it and they look as if they're looking through the world.
Yeah.
And they talk about it.
It reminds me of shell shock in the 30s or something. Like, it messes them up. But it's what people do to stretch it as far as you can. If you say something like, well, our AI is tight as a button, you'll never be able to exploit it, all that does is invite a million people to say, oh yeah, watch, and then they go and they do it and they figure out a way. So malware is one.
Everything done can be undone.
Yeah, of course. But also just like use cases. That malware one is one. The other one was, students are all getting A's in their college, not dysentery. What's the word I'm looking for?
A's and dysentery.
What do you call it? There's a word.
That dysentery course is hard. I think I got to use Chat GPT for this.
Man, that should be the title. A's in the time of dysentery.
What's it called? Right. Oh, what is it called when you do not your thesis, your
dissertation?
Dissertation. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good Lord, that word would not come out of me, but dysentery sure did. Anyway.
It sure did. Your AI died of dysentery.
It sure did. But anyway, this kind of future, it's going to have to suss itself out. But think about it. We've been through this before with every technological leap. It just happens every time.
I got... It just opened my imagination to be like, oh, we were thinking about all the cute, harmful things this thing's going to do. You know what I mean? And what if someone types in how to shut down the internet forever and break it irrevocably?
Yeah.
And it works. Maybe that's what we need. Maybe that's just
a hard reset.
Correcting itself,
Yeah, everyone says, Scott, what would you do to fix Twitter? And part of me thinks you burn it to the ground and you start fresh again, and you make house rules and then you stick to them, and that's the site. You're done. That's how I think you fix Twitter, because Twitter has been too much of...
and I'll be like, how do I break Scott's stupid version of Twitter?
See, you're not wrong. I totally agree with you. You know, I totally
you know what I
agree with
mean?
you.
Like, it's just like it's an endless cycle of this thing.
But
I agree. We should kind of torch it. Look, I'm a Twitter boomer enough to be like, I hate the fact that there are images on Twitter. Like, I still remember I'm like, it's a microblog. Twitter's a microblog. We can't have pictures on a microblog site. What is this, Instagram? You know, like, I remember, I'm still butthurt over that, honestly.
I want to know whose voice that was that you were doing there. Who was
That's my
It
bad
was that
voice.
gnome that tells us we're under attack.
Oh.
Captain, we're under attack! Something like that.
I knew it was familiar, and that was
It's
it.
my halfling voice.
I love that.
Hello, Nash. Hello, Stanley. Would you like to buy some confectionery from my store?
Do I have that still?
Back to Pokemon.
No. Hold on.
Pokemon. We're under attack.
There he is. That's the guy.
Yeah,
That's the guy. Yep. I knew he was in there somewhere. Anyway, that's what I played. Oh, no, I played one other thing. Sorry. Meant to mention this. This is important because it'll crack John up, I think. He knows how much I hate inventory management in Resident Evil.
Yep.
It's terrible. Somebody went and made a game. This is an amazing thing called Save Room. And the screen of Save Room is basically the Resident Evil inventory screen.
Yep.
Look at it. You even got the little green thing up in the corner. You see that up there? And when
Yeah,
you start
there
the
it is.
game, the voice goes, or you push start, it goes, King, Save Room. Like they're even doing like that. Like they're going full Resident Evil, except there's no Resident Evil. So they've turned the game, or they've taken the thing about managing your damn inventory in a game like Resident Evil 4 and turned it into it is the game. And it's a puzzle game, basically. I don't know why the person playing is playing with a controller. That sounds like a nightmare. I would only want to do this with a mouse. But anyway, you take a big shotgun and you got to figure out, will this fit in this space? Because I also need to put this egg and this pistol in there.
Yep.
And you're basically kind of Tetrising these things around, trying to figure out how. By the way, this game only cost me $3. I should mention that right at the top.
I'm so happy you spent money on this, Scott. I told you about this a while back.
Did you tell me?
In passing.
I don't remember this.
I told you that somebody made an inventory game based on Resident Evil 4.
Oh, shit.
And you made some comment about like, what a nightmare.
Yeah.
What an awful thing.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy you've now spent money.
I
on
was
it.
wrong. What I said was wrong. It's great. It's actually really fun.
Have you
and
gotten stuck yet?
I have gotten stuck. In fact, I can tell you where, because I didn't have time to play a ton yet, but I played, I think, 3 or 4 levels. And at the whatever the fourth level is, I'm stuck on at the moment, or I'm having a hard time with, but I'm sure I can work it out. But it basically is a puzzle game, and they do it with
Stuck
such
on the 4th level?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I haven't played. I've maybe
Oh, you
played,
haven't played
half
that
an
one?
hour.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I've barely played like 30 minutes of the game.
I just, is there already solved like 2 puzzles when you're showing it? Yeah, you really didn't play very long.
Yeah,
Okay.
I haven't. In fact, I should probably not show this video past the third one because I don't want to.
Yeah, because it's going to spoil it for you.
But anyway, they just get more complicated, and I've seen screens where every square of this thing is full of something. So there's tons to put in here, and
What a neat idea, honestly.
it's a great idea. Yeah, and visually, I mean, they even have bullets in these guns. It says there's 12 bullets in green on top of the gun, 7 on the
I'm
shotgun.
looking at this puzzle. How did they even fit it all in?
And this one took me a while too, but I did find.
Oh, he's got to combine, I bet.
Yeah, there is a thing where you
I
combine
don't know.
items.
Those bullet types can't combine.
That's true. In this case, you can't see. There it is. He just did
Oh,
it.
he figured it out. He could
Yeah,
rotate.
they got it.
Yeah.
All right, now we're
is-
on level 4. This is the one you got stuck on.
This is the
one
one I got
Scott
stuck
couldn't
on.
beat.
I'm going to turn this off. I don't want to see it.
3 eggs.
3 eggs. What are they doing to you, Scott?
I know, it's
3
crazy.
eggs.
It's crazy, but it's so good. It's really fun. It's, by the way, overwhelmingly positive reviews.
This is what I'm
It
talking
should.
about.
It's
though.
amazing. Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. Though, I wouldn't shock me if that was made in the Godot game engine. Like it's so,
Could have
it's
been.
good, but it's low like asset pipeline kind of deal, right? Like you know, a very achievable, inspiring kind of project, and it's nice to see it take off.
I can't believe that I like it so much, given how much I hate it as a mechanism to store my shit in the actual game it's based on. I hate it in there, but I love it here.
But you're also you're pretty much experiencing mental trauma when you're playing those games.
Well, yeah, because I got all the other stuff to worry about. Yeah. Exactly.
If I'm like beating you and then I ask you to do a Sudoku, you're not gonna enjoy it very much, right? But if you're just chilling, maybe you'll do one.
Yeah, no, you're right, and it's also just kind of cathartic. It feels like we've talked about it on the show before, but years ago I talked about a game, and I still play it sometimes. That chest you just keep opening and getting loot out of, never-ending chest or whatever it is. It's basically like, let's take a part of the game and let's turn it into its own game.
Resident Evil 7.
You're not wrong. No, that'd be 11 with what's her name. Anyway, you just keep opening a chest and getting loot, and it's random. And so you boil down a video game to that. It feels a little bit weird, but also weirdly addicting. This is like that, where it's like you've boiled down inventory management into a puzzle game, and it's really fun. It's called Save Room. A VR version would be cool, chat room. That would be rad. If Bo could like pick up guns and figure out, okay, could I put this?
Look like you're in Minority Report, just rotating items. Well, and putting it in.
That exists. I have Resident Evil 4. Oh, it's not fully VR, but I have Resident Evil 4 for the Quest.
Yeah, so you could do it. You could do this.
The suitcase is at the pause screen, and you do have to like do the suitcase in Resident Evil 4.
Oh, that's right. I've heard that's actually pretty good. That part of the game, like.
Yeah, I need to get back to it. It's decent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as good as Alex, but it's
sure
it's good.
But as like a weird mini game, it works. And in this case, it's the only game, and it works. And I can't believe how well reviewed it is, or how much I liked it, or how cheap it is. So if this sounds interesting to you at all, it's on Steam for $3.
That's probably $1 million VR idea. I mean, Unpacking was a game. This is an overwhelmingly positive game. Mm-hmm. Someone needs to make Suitcase VR. I mean, you just got to pack a suitcase.
Yeah, it's chorecore, really, at the end of the day.
I wish I could program. I would try and I whip it out this weekend, but I have to learn programming.
Yeah. I get a lot of messages, by the way, when we get texts, I'm going through them. A lot of them say, I have this idea for a game. This would be so cool. The details out their game. And at the bottom, they always say, maybe Bo could knock this out in a weekend for me. They all say
another thing I'm going to live to regret. Another innocuous little comment that's going to live on for the rest of my life.
I love it.
As I do this.
Never change. I love it.
Great.
All right. So again, for me, that was Elder Scrolls Online and Save Room. John, let's talk about, you finished Dead Space. I think I'm doing that in the morning when I stream it with my daughter, but how'd it go? How do you feel?
Went great. Loved that remake. They did an amazing job. I said this previously, so I'm not going to go too in depth on it. It did an amazing job of just making me think, oh yeah, this is a prettier version of what existed. And, ultimately it was a much prettier and better version than what existed. But they stayed so true to it that throughout the entire thing, I didn't feel like I was playing something radically different. It felt true to that game that I had played and really liked. I got to the end, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that this ended on such a weird note, because it does. And so I immediately went and just read the wiki summary for Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 3, because I was like, I'm not waiting for them to remake these games, or heaven forbid play them.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna read what happens in the plot, and I read through the Dead Space 2 plot and went, all right, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I remember that. I read the Dead Space 3 plot and I went, oh man, they really screwed this up in Dead Space 3.
But I thought, okay, so everyone's saying that the remake has an alternate ending. Is that not true?
There is an alternate ending. I did go look up what it was, because again, heaven forbid I play the game and earn it genuinely.
Yeah.
We live in the time of internet. You can just go see it. It's a subtle difference.
Yeah.
It is, well, it's not like they just changed one thing. There is a difference to the ending. It's weirder. It's kind of neat. You can unlock that ending by playing a second time. When you play New Game Plus, there is some cool stuff in New Game Plus. There's new enemies, and there are new collectibles. And those new collectibles, if you gather them, is what will get you your secret ending. So
okay,
that's a hint out there for those of you who are not like me and just went secret ending. I'll Google it.
Yeah. I'll do that
now,
when I finish it. I'm just going to Google
for
it.
the other stuff I played, Scott, I have conveniently given you Twitch links.
Oh, yeah,
you can't scrub them because it's all from the same stream, but they are timestamped, so it should be game appropriate for wherever we're at.
Okay.
Just, heaven forbid you show Elder Scrolls Online through everything I talk about again. Especially because we're going to start with Final Fantasy XIV. Scott alluded to this. Bo is afraid of this. I'm going to talk about Final Fantasy 14 housing, but the good news is it is for probably the last time.
You're done.
Because I did it. I got my house. I put in another bid.
You got a place of your own?
Got a place of my own.
You got to congratulate someone on their first house.
Yeah,
there were
good.
3 people in the running, including myself, and had that 33 infinite 3 repeating % chance of getting it. I did it. I won.
Wow.
I won a random drawing.
Congratulations.
And, I've built a house. You can see it in the clips. Why? I just told you I gave you links.
Well,
I just told you I gave you links that you can literally pull up what I'm talking about.
What's great about
it? Not mine. Scott's
no. Here it is.
On his own.
Here it is. No. I found it. I clicked the wrong link. You're good. You're in. Look at that. That's you.
Immediately just start showing.
She's not as adorable.
I love how annoyed that makes you. It's one of my favorite reactions I've ever seen.
Because it's like, come on, man, don't show Elder Scrolls Online. When
that wasn't Elder Scrolls. That was somebody else's Final Fantasy house. But anyway, this is you now. This is you in a little skirt.
This is me. I'm heading to my house. Yeah, it's my very cute skirt.
It's adorable.
So yeah, this house right here, this is my house. This is what I got.
I don't know about those pants with that skirt though.
Oh,
I'm a dancer and an adventurer. You gotta keep it right.
Yeah.
You're
beautiful. I just mean, I don't know.
I like the neighborhood. The neighborhood's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Frosty, snowy area. Won't surprise you at all that's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
But anyway, I haven't finished decorating it yet by any means. I'm working on it. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. I now have another space that I can decorate besides just the apartment that I have in
Are those glowing boxing gloves in your house?
No, those are Valentine's Day event decorations that are around because they're in the middle of their
Valentine's Day boxing gloves
event. Yeah, at the moment. So
nice.
All right.
Congratulations
on your house.
Good.
Do you have money to decorate it, or are you broke now?
No, I have money, and actually, I had a very nice listener send me some money for my house. So a huge thank you.
Sweet. And what do you buy to put the fog effects in your house?
Or this CGI knight that has shown up for some reason.
Yeah, was there a patch?
That was Elder Scrolls. Yeah. That was just Elder Scrolls. I'm screwed.
Final Fantasy characters got really up.
There was one more thing I had to do in Final Fantasy this week, and it was kind of tied into news, but it's just my thing. So I figure it was worth at least mentioning this as a thing that happened. So not that anybody would use mods in Final Fantasy. Let me just put that out as a disclaimer right up front. Nobody would ever use a mod. But if for some reason you were using a mod called G-Shade, the owner of that mod decided to go into business for himself in a real big way. He was mad at the way some people were utilizing his mod. He loaded the newest version of G-Shade with malware that if you were using his mod in this way, it would shut down your computer.
Holy shit.
Oh my god.
And when they confronted him about this decision, he said, "Hey, I could have put worse things in there than just this. You're lucky I decided to do this."
Dude, what a chaos monster. That is shitty. Shitty.
That's bad for a lot of reasons. One is like trust is an important part of all this.
Ooh.
Square Enix is already kind of like you're just feeding into Square Enix's narrative on no mods, right? You know what I mean? Like, why you didn't think this through at all?
Is that the same G-Shade for? Oh, geez, I'm not even going to launch it to see.
Well, no, because hold on, because here's the thing, Scott. So G-Shade is a more Final Fantasy 14 focused version of a popular mod for many different video games that I think is the one you're talking about, called Reshade.
Oh, that's the one. Okay, that is the one I use
basically the same thing.
Guild Wars. Yeah.
So I spent a chunk of my time because even though I think there are people acting like this is the end of the world, he did a dumb thing. I don't think people should use the mod. I think all of that is common sense.
What were they using it wrong for?
I don't remember all the specifics, but it was
say the right things.
It was something to do with people got mad because he was updating the mod too often, and so they found workarounds to some of the tools that he had put in to kind of enforce these updates and stuff. I might have details about this.
Someone was modding his mod.
Yeah.
Yeah, little pot calling the kettle black kind of situation. How dare you mod my mod?
I think it was more they found a workaround to something that he had put in the mod because
still
but either way, it doesn't matter.
The sword, right? You know.
And ultimately he decided to go into business for himself in a bad way. Oh my gosh, Scott. Elder Scrolls Online just leaking in constantly.
Sorry, I can't help it. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. I won't do it
no, that wasn't him. That was G-Shade.
That was G-Shade just making itself known.
Oh,
I think your system got hacked, John, with G-Shade.
Yeah, but it's a crazy story if you want to look it up. It's a little, it's a little Final Fantasy specific, which, I tend to get into, but it's not everybody's cup of tea.
Oh.
But it is shocking because you rarely see somebody just go into business on their own to quite this degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Scipio says G-Shade is a fork of Reshade anyways.
So it is. It's a
mod of a mod.
Of it. Yeah.
He's like, don't use my mod. Excuse me, sir. You're using my G-Shade mod of a mod in the wrong way.
Wow. That's
if you use it incorrectly, malware for you. Sucker.
That guy sucks. That really pisses me off. It makes the mod community as a whole seem less responsible. I really don't like it. I hate it.
Yeah. It was not a good thing.
Ugh. Gross.
You shouldn't use G-Shade. And it turns out it's very, very easy to move over to Reshade if you were using this mod. Not that I would know anything about that, but there are some really great YouTube tutorials. And if I were to use G-Shade and switch it over, I would imagine, 10, 15 minutes tops would be as long as it took to do that.
Yeah. I can't believe they did
Again,
that.
hypothetically speaking.
Yeah, of course. Awesome. All right. Well, there's your status on that. What else is going on?
So there's a thing going on right now that's pretty cool that comes up every now and then, and I decided that it would be neat for the show to kind of participate a little bit in it. But they're doing the Steam Next Fest, which is a bunch of demos for games that aren't out yet. These aren't early access games. In some cases they might be, but in general these are like legitimate just demos for games that are coming. And I downloaded a few and streamed a bunch of them, and I figured I'd talk about the ones I played. I by no means played, there's a ton of games in here, but I did 4 of them so far, and maybe we'll have more by next episode. But the first one I did was System Shock, the remake of the very old System Shock game. I've never played it. I'm a huge fan of System Shock 2. I love that game. It's I think one of the scariest video games I ever played, or at least it was at the time that I played it. This game is really interesting because it kind of feels both old and new at the same time. Like graphically, it has this very I can tell what era of gaming this is from look to it. But the lighting and particle effects and the way it plays are all very slick on top of it. Sure. So it feels modern in that way. It's cool. It's definitely echoes a slower time in gaming. Like we have been trained over time for a lot more hand holding, a lot more easing into things, a lot less clutter and kind of wasted time on stuff. And this game has a lot of that. There's a lot of read this, sit down with this, really think about what to do with this. So I have found modern gaming me has a hard time with the patience that this game is asking for. But this is a game that was a precursor to games like Deus Ex, BioShock, obviously, System Shock 2. My goodness.
Sorry. It's just for the chat. Sorry. Go ahead. Continue. Ignore me.
It's just for the chat till I call it out. Yeah, people need to know. People need to know your bad behavior on stream.
You missed the time where I had this rad helmet on you, but that's okay. You were looking at something
I did miss the helmet. That I actually probably would have gotten behind.
Yeah, you're actually cool with that thing. Anyway, sorry. Continue on. Yeah. This looks really. I gotta say, visually, I'm a little surprised. I thought this was supposed to be more of a straight up remake. This looks more like. I don't know. There's modern shit going on. These lighting effects and textures and stuff. It looks all right.
Yeah, it has a neat look. It's not quite as good as what's that throwback shooter that we all played and liked? It's on Game Pass. You know the one I'm talking about.
Prometheus.
Proteus.
Proteus,
yes.
thank you. Love Proteus. So
It's
cool.
not quite as cool looking as that, but I would say it's in that vein where it's like it definitely feels like a throwback, but there's so much new tech around it that you're like, hell yes. Like this looks cool. I like the look of this.
Yeah, I'm down with those kind of conversions. I think that looks really cool. I like that.
Yeah, I think my only issue, the only thing that really kind of slowed me down on it was just from a feel perspective, it feels like an old game.
Mhm.
And I think that's important to stay true to what the game was, and I think I could get in the right headspace for it. But there's definitely just like a pacing and a flow and the way it's all presented that you're just like, oh boy, this is from an earlier era of gaming.
Right.
Otherwise, a pretty cool game. The next demo I checked out was a game called Boxes Lost Fragments. Really easy to explain what this one is. This is a game that is basically puzzle boxes. And you get a puzzle box and you open the puzzle box.
Oh.
And
I like stuff like this. I'm a fan.
That's what you do. If you've watched Glass Onion, you watch the opening scene of Glass Onion. It's basically that. It's that kind of premise.
Can I take a hammer to it and just beat the shit out of it like the lady did?
No, but I really wanted to. That's all I was thinking about when I was looking at it. I was like, man, if I had a hammer, I'd get through this real quick.
Yeah. Interesting. Ooh, these are I love this kind of trinkety poke around box stuff. I really like the look of this.
This game was super chill. It looks great for what it is. I played through 100% of the demo. I did both boxes. The demo is just 2 boxes. I did both of them. It didn't take an insanely long time, but I loved every second of it. This will be a buy for me immediately when it comes out. It is just a chill, fun experience, and I had a great time playing it. So it's nothing more than what is presented here, at least so far in the demo. There's maybe a hint that there's maybe a greater overall story to the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see any of that. The demo really is just 2 boxes to solve. But the animations are really slick. They look very intricate. And I had a great time with it.
I wonder if this is the people that made Room. Oh, chat's talking about it. Room and Room 2 for iOS. This looks really very familiar. It may be the same devs. If that's true, that thrills me to hear it's come to PC because that was such a cool series of games. I don't know if it's them.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah.
It looks really neat. I would play this. I will play this, actually. This is a game I'll get.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I loved it. And if you guys want to check it out, it's Boxes Lost Fragments. The demo is there now.
All right.
Nice. Next one I played, the one bad experience of the bunch, we'll say, to spoil it a little bit, is a game called Afterimage, which I downloaded on the premise of it said anime-esque and Metroidvania, and I was like, oh, sweet. That sounds great.
Like something you'd like.
And then it started talking about the residents of God and the war that was promised. And then there was a weird creature with a funny voice talking to a pretty anime lady. And then they told me that I needed to take it very seriously. And it went into too many anime tropes that I don't like.
And you mean example?
Because it looks sick to play.
Yeah, it looks neat.
Gameplay was good, so I did like how it played. But you guys know me; I like a good story, and this was a demo, and I started skipping all the talking.
Yeah, well, it suffered from a Midnight Sun syndrome, where it's just like,
a little bit of that. Yeah.
And anime is good for that. If anything, you get the right anime, and it's like you're bored to tears because of the weird way they label things. Like, what do you call it? The Pathways of God or something or whatever.
Yeah, like they had a town that was called God. I think just so they can make the comment that you're from God.
Oh,
okay. I think that's the whole
reason
for it. Of that
okay.
joke. Yeah, or we got to return to God.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't know. It's just
that's a real turn on. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
It was weird. I hated the story to this that I saw.
Okay.
It was a heavy turn off, but the gameplay was solid. Like, and the the video kind of speaks for it. It's a beautiful game.
Yeah, it really
like,
is.
It looks really, really good.
Beautiful.
It plays well. The stuff that's probably the most important is there, but I'm gonna say this: like, a lot of Metroidvania games play good and look good.
Yeah.
So I do need something else before I'm like, well, this is the one that's gonna get my money. So it didn't do it for me.
I get you.
In fact,
that's
you
too
jumped
bad.
just a little bit ahead, and you are about where I'm gonna quit playing. Like, I beat this boss, and then I'm like, okay, we're done. It goes into you're guaranteed to lose fight, and then it decides time for more story, and I went, no, we're good.
Just not your thing.
It's too bad. Yeah, I see it's the visual novel it and pause the screen. Why can't you just let the voiceover go?
Yeah.
While you're playing, like, is the story really that or shattering you?
They look like mobile game characters that you see in those ads. They look like when they're animating on screen, it look fine, but when they're talking, I feel like I'm looking at one of those ads where they're like the greatest RPG.
I feel like you don't want to interrupt the gameplay in a game on the Metroidvania like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So that one was a bit of a bummer, but I am happy to say that we ended on a high note because I played a game called Fabledom. This is it advertises itself as a chill city builder. So it's kind of in the vein of I don't know, Timberborn, like a lot of those games right now that are out where you're controlling a settlement in a city. But this one definitely feels a little bit more casual to it, and it has this, like, I would say maybe the weird premise to it is that it tries to make you a character in it. So you get to pick, are you a prince or a princess? And then it asks you, are you looking for, and you can select prince, princess, or any. So I think I played as Princess Down for Whatever is what I literally named her.
Oh,
and and said you send whatever you want my way. But it's true, like, while I was building this city, I got a letter from a character whose name was Aborthia. I don't know how historically accurate that name is, but that's what they were called.
Wow.
And she had this very like, oh, you're making a town, isn't that quaint? You seem to be doing a very good job, and maybe we can work on this town together. There wasn't really an option to respond to her, but it makes me think that there's maybe like a weird relationship element to this building a town business. The game was incredibly charming. I liked the style of it. Everything's big and cartoony. But all of the building, I mean, all the city building tropes are there. You put buildings down, you got to have roads connecting your buildings to make it efficient. You want to have water that's available in a set area. It actually reminded me a whole lot of the demo that came out for SteamWorld Build. Very, very similar to that.
Okay.
In terms of feel. They generate names for your characters. Somehow I got 2 Tonys on my first build, so I had the 2 Tonys, and they were my workers that just built everything for me. And does a really good job of giving you objectives. You can't see it because on my stream it blocks it, but it gives you quests and it gives you money for doing the quests. And it seems to have a bit of a fantasy like kind of slant to it. So you will eventually, your town is going to meet fantastical creatures. And probably have to fend off cyclopses and stuff like that.
I like the little bobblehead peoples. They're cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look great. They're called like Fablets or something like that.
Fablets.
Fablets. I don't know. They got like a weird name for them.
Actually, this looks really interesting.
It does look good.
It's really charming and really cute, and I absolutely loved this.
Did you
this
find
is another one that's a big buy?
Did it feel turtley? Like you can turtle up the way you and I like to play these sort of games, and you know what I mean?
It's hard to say from the demo because there were no military structures, so I was at no point was I under threat from anything.
Mm-hmm.
By its default play speed, it's real slow, so it doesn't seem to want to put a ton of pressure on you to like, oh, go, but it definitely does seem to have elements, because I saw evidence of it, that, you know, there will be droughts and there will be winter and stuff like that. There will be planning that you have to do that is frequently in these sorts of games, but it definitely seems like there's more of a chill vibe to it, a little slower, a little less, you know, like, oh my gosh, it's all falling apart on me.
Oh, see, this reminds me of those games I always rave about, the Impressions games, Pharaoh, and I can't think of them all right, Caesar 3 and all those. Those games, what I loved about those games, I would turn off the war parts because I just didn't care about them, and they also weren't very well implemented, but I just liked building a town that made sense and grew because I was smart about how I laid it out, and I wasn't always under threat. Like Banished has its place, and I do like that in some situations, but I want something that's a little more like this, I think.
I'm watching the Banished trailer right now.
Are you?
Yeah, we were looking at this game, and I was like, it says similar to games you like Banished.
Like
and
Banished.
I started watching the Banished trailer.
You
game has a spell on me.
I think you and Banished have a long history, right? You guys love each other.
Yeah, I love this. There's some magical about the music and the attention to detail on that one. It's like ASMR for whatever it is.
Well, John, I think you sold me. This sounds like totally my jam. I'll probably get this.
Yeah.
I like this.
So those are the ones I played. I heard about a ton of others. Our Discord was full of people throwing out recommendations. I saw one that you said looked rad that you saw before we started the show today. So it's going until next week.
You guys, did you see Dark and Darker, John?
I saw it on there. I've seen it streamed, and it didn't look like it would be my thing, but it is definitely getting a ton of buzz.
I think it's a 3-man. The reason I thought of it, I was like, it looks a little weird, like janky, but it's a 3-man team kind of thing. And then they show a lobby of people dancing in the tavern, and I was like, I don't know, this might be worth a multiplayer.
They say the description on PC Gamer is Dark and Darker is a PvPvE extraction game. That means that not all of these games need to be shooters, is their claim, and they really like.
Yeah, it's a dungeon crawl. You have a warrior, a ranger, and a wizard, and you're in a dungeon doing. You know, you have a paper doll and an inventory, and I think you just got to beat other teams in the dungeon.
Yeah, it's like competitive D&D.
You're playing co-op.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's to me, this strikes me as a game that like looks janky and shit, but might have secret juice in it that makes it like really fun. And the fact that it was 3 players, like it was on my own. I don't know, but then I was like, oh, it's 3-player multiplayer, and I don't know. I just thought it might be a good time to.
I haven't heard of this. This looks really cool. Look at the video on this. Oh man, this does look cool. I could play this.
Yeah, like there's something really like it's, you know, grim dark, it's dungeon stuff. It's I don't know, it's first person. It seems slow and methodical.
Yeah.
And there's a nice little mini map on the right, and you got to do dungeon exploration. Like I like good work together mechanics, right? Like if someone needs help across a ledge, maybe the wizard can do something. You know, I don't know, like I don't know what to expect. I just watched the trailer. Did you see anything interesting, John? You said it didn't look that good, or
no, it seems like I think your impression was spot on. The idea of like it looks like jank, but maybe there's secret sauce to it. That seems to be my impression as well, because it's obviously very popular. I've heard almost nothing but good things from people who have played it. Looking at it, this looks like the most boring game I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, like it's definitely got a look of, you know, late 90s, early 2000 dungeon crawler, but in Unreal Engine 5 kind of thing. Like, you know, it's got like a tone to it, but that's not a turnoff for me. But I know that's not your jam as much. I think Scott.
I could totally play this. Yeah, this looks great.
But you might have fun just because we're all having fun. If you were to, you know, I want the 3 of us.
Right. If it's something that everybody's playing, you know, I wouldn't mind giving it a try for sure.
So is it? Like, it's not turn-based. It's all real-time combat and everything.
Yeah. It's all real-time.
It looks like ESO style, kind of, you know, first-person gameplay. I don't know.
Oh, look at this Diablo-looking inventory.
Yeah.
Kind of want to play it.
And so just wait, because there's a party in the tavern. So it's like Fortnite. There's a lobby that forms, and that's kind of what sold me. I'm like, wait a second, you can also do this shit. You can do stupid online stuff. And I was like, okay, maybe like, yeah, there's something here. There's something there that like is curious, and I want to explore. because my first reaction was the same as John's. Janky indie game, good for them. Like, I wish them the best of luck, but I don't have time for this. And then I saw that room with 21 different wizards in it jumping around. I was like, wait, what's going on in this game?
Yeah, now you're all in.
And then I paid more attention and found out maybe there's something kind of unique, and the 3-player teams kind of sounds like fun.
I think this looks great. I'm wish listing this now. This is the demo's out, I guess, is what you're saying. This isn't.
Actually, of all of them, this is currently the most wish listed if you sort by it. Like, it's getting a lot of buzz, and that's why I kind of believe there's probably something there. Like, looking at it, it looks very deliberate and slow. A lot like not Elder Scrolls Online, but like if you put motion to like the original Elder Scrolls games like Redfall and stuff like that.
Even if you think about a game like PUBG, which, it's a snap shooter, but getting across the map is kind of methodical. I got to go to the fridge and get a frying pan and find ammo. Like,
getting the frying pan out of the fridge like you do.
Something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
My brain got tired. I started the sentence and I don't know if I want to... how much effort I want to put into saying what I'm saying. But
I'm so glad you went through these because I meant to or wanted to do more.
Idea.
Yeah, this is great. You got me excited about. Well, I wish.
Well, I downloaded the demo, so if we get free time, maybe we can play.
Yeah. That one's currently leading in the wish list. The next one is Void Train, which I'm also interested in kind of seeing what that's about. Darkest Dungeon 2.
You guys kind of owe me for skipping Darktide, making me play it by myself.
Well, you didn't. I played it. It's just, and I think we'll get back to that.
I was so looking forward to our Darktide, and like nobody played. Kyle too. You owe me too, Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle owes you. Well, the thing is, look, that game's going to improve. I think we get back to it.
Scott's like shifting the spotlight from him immediately. He's like, "Yeah, it was Kyle.
Yeah, it was Kyle's fault. It was Kyle the whole time. I don't know if you knew that. No, all I'm saying is just like Vermintide, that game will improve and we'll go back to it. That's what I know.
We'll play it at some point, but I just think I was like looking forward. I was just. You heard me looking forward to the game. I was just like, I can't wait to play with my friends.
I know.
Everyone's like, nope,
game's not good. It's awesome. All right, Bo, you spent a bunch of time in Godot. Have we settled on how to say it? Is it Godot?
I think it's I don't know.
Godot.
This will never be resolved.
I think it should be called. I personally think they should have called it Godot because that's cool. That sounds like a game thing. I'm using the Godot engine, not Godot.
I think it's Godot or Godot, but I don't know.
Godot.
I don't know. Anyways, the Godot game engine.
Hate the name.
Yeah. So I've been doing more lessons. Like I don't, I work during the day, so I come home at night. Last thing I want to do is like learn shit. But so some nights it's not diligent; it's sporadic. But I am still going through this tutorial of stuff. Last week I talked about going through HUD elements. This week I spent some time. There was just more movement. It's really just kind of dry stuff, like just different options for writing movement. But I did spend some time. So while I do the lessons, I also like just working on a little weird project to take what I've learned and try and just think of it on my own as a sort of form of practice. So that like last time I showed something, it's not like an announcement of anything, it's just to show my progress. So one of the things that I had for this vision of this Mimi thing I was working on was, hey, can I get something? I need to be able to do parallax scrolling. I wanted to figure that out, like just to get a background in. And then I think everything in game design is kind of like, it looks super easy, but then you're like, how to make a background scroll? Well, here's 15 YouTube videos, and I don't know how to just whip it up and like, what's the solution? But I managed to get something working on my own, which was kind of fun. So I'm just gonna show it. I gotta find my file though, and I'll share it on the screen here real quick.
Okay. Can't wait! I'm so excited.
I think I'm loading up the right thing. Yeah. So, and I got some scroll working too. So.
Parallax scrolling, dude.
So if you have a look,
look at it.
Get rid of.
If you have a look here in the top, hang on, I gotta get rid of all the.
Yeah, you got all the
hide
shit.
Your people.
Yeah, get rid of all that. Oh, dude! Wait, why? Claptrap chasing him? That's amazing. Claptrap was part of the mess. All right.
But so like I just wanted to establish something very basic. So I got some free assets, and I put you can see in the background, it doesn't show it very much because most of the game level is obviously in the water.
Yeah.
But I just wanted the land for some effect. So you can buy these, you can buy cheap royalty-free game dev assets in various places. So this is pre-painted by something, and it comes in the layers. So I wanted to make it scroll infinitely and then just move at different speeds. So I actually kind of figured out how to accomplish the basics, in Godot. I wouldn't say I'm a wizard, but it's working, as you can see. And then I got a control scheme. Oh wait, why is that? Is it showing my camera now? Why does it do that?
Did.
Okay.
Oh, look at
I
that.
also have movement on.
Oh shit.
Right, I took your picture and I put a second frame of animation.
Yeah, with his legs.
And then you see he does a little lean. And as you can see, maybe we got a game where I click some buttons and shit falls out of my ass and I hit the fish with it.
You're trying to play.
Feed the fish.
Yeah,
Feed the
no,
fish.
this
And then I'm
reminds me.
kind of thinking maybe the fish turn into food because you have a poo meter, and then you got to eat the fish to increase the poo meter so you can shit on more.
There
fish.
was. Do you remember there was an old arcade game where you were in a boat trying to kill submarines? You've got the model. This is it.
Yeah,
This is the
I mean,
game.
it's not an announcement. It's not an alpha or anything. It's just as I'm learning, I'm just applying things I'm learning. And since this is a meme, and since you drew this, I was like, well, Scott won't mind if I just use this.
Oh hell no! And also, not only that, if you need me to make like break out parts and make them so they're all
we'll see. This is just I'm just working on it one little system at a time. I got to learn one thing at a time, but it shows you a lot of potential just getting even this far where you're like,
yeah, dude.
this is put together with glue and tape. Like it's not.
Right. I love it though.
I don't know how to instance in projectiles or enemies. I have doing the HUD. But you get a lot of ideas. It's inspiring when you get some ideas. You're like, oh wait, I could do this. I could do this. I could do this. Fuck, I don't know it yet. Learn faster, brain.
Yeah, come on, brain. I'm already impressed. You got like a sense of momentum with the character. That's really cool.
All that's accomplished is and this is when one of the tutorials is a line of code that adds a bit of lean. It just looks that things create an illusion. It's the same 2 cells of animation, right? You just
lean back and go.
Just lean. There's a lot you can accomplish with even simple stuff.
I love it. We could do I can rig that character so you have an actual rig where knees bend, arms bend, hair move, whatever you want.
I'm not there yet. I don't. Yeah, all that stuff I don't know. I know a sprite and 2 frames of animation, and to lean. But I mean, I am working on a piece of shit. Literally. If I go to my where am I here? Bow player abilities, poo shot. So it's not. I'm working on learning shaders a bit. So let me just turn off the collision shape here. As you can see, it's not animating though. Hang on. You can also.
Looks like a peach.
Yeah, a little curled up.
No, it's an actual picture of a poo from the internet. And I pixelified it a little bit in Asperite, and then I rotated around in a circle using the animation player. Oh. And then I got particle effects, right? So there's stuff you can do with particle effects. Does this? Oh yeah, I can do that.
Dude,
I need it to be 90 degrees.
I think there's going to be a game at the end of all this. I really do now.
I mean, that's the best case scenario. Is we make Super Lake Run. It's available to patrons, and we sell it for 99 cents or something.
Right, some cheap little game.
But it's too far. It's very inspiring to see this stuff, even for me. But then I'm like, I don't know how to do 98% of what I need to finish the project.
Sure.
It's just as I learn, I try to apply what I learned in my own little.
I love that you're doing this, and I love the approach. I love the whole like, all right, I've learned this much. I'm going to make a thing. Okay, now I'm this far. Now what do I want to do? Like,
now the key step is learning to get this poo out of my butt in the
and create like a little bit of a physics model and all that. Sure. I love it.
Yeah, you make different scenes and you can tie the nodes in if you see on the left here into it, but you actually want to do that with code because you want to, if you shoot 100 projectiles, they each have to be their own projectile with their own stuff governed. So it's a matter of learning that. Yeah.
Right. Dude. Okay. I take back my outrageous prediction of 2023's video game prediction of the Switch 2, and I change it to Bo will have a rad game by the end of 2023 called Super Poop or Super Lake Run or
tentative title Super Lake Run right now. I don't know. It might change, but I kind of grown fond of Super Lake Run.
Yeah, it's a great name.
Anyways, that's my show and tell for the day.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah. The
You
other
also
thing I
played-
did this
oh,
week
yeah.
in gaming,
Yeah.
which I didn't stream, was play Doom 3 in VR.
Oh yeah. So
And-
okay. So this is supposed to be pretty good. I've heard.
So that game is a prequel to Dead Space, like in the vein that it's first person and maybe there's more enemies and stuff, but there's no soundtrack. It's not like Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal, which has like metal and shit. It's like Dead Space, where it's just the sounds of the building, like you're alone in an empty space.
Right.
Let's get the negatives out of the way. The mod is old and janky.
Oh really?
It's not the best. It took me a lot of considerable fiddling to get it working. And the graphics aren't great to begin with. The people look as ugly as shit in 3D. It's so bad. They look even worse in 3D. I'm not gonna lie. The monsters too. All the enemies look freaking terrible. It doesn't enhance the experience seeing them in 3D. But the levels and sound design are really spooky. Like it gives you an idea, like if Dead Space were in VR, what it would be like, which is way scarier. It's actually really awesome, even as janky as it is, to be in this Mars space station, that's just like empty and weird. But anyways, you might hear from a lot of people like this is the scariest VR offering there is.
I've heard that.
And I can confirm that's true because one, there's no music, but two, because the game is not designed for VR, it's janky. It does the original Doom things of, when you pick up an item or push a button, you drop down a floor and you're in some other arena, like in the original Doom.
Yeah.
It's very sudden and quick. So when I pick up the shotgun, all of a sudden the floor just goes straight down. Woo, it's pitch black, lights show up, and then these zombies are going after me. And it does something because it's not like realistic or something. Like it's like scary, but not in a good way, is what I'm trying to say. Like, just because the jump scares, which are hot and heavy, are also insane. By the way, sweet mirror tech. Why can't Cyberpunk do this?
I know.
Anyways,
the mirror tech is
just
great.
quick side note. It's one of the things that pisses me off about Cyberpunk is you got to turn on the mirrors. I'm like, Doom 3 has like a perfectly working mirror, and VR chat does. I mean, what's with the mirror?
They were going for like a motif where it's frosted until you do a tech thing and then it turns unfrosted or something. I think it came off as weird. I agree with you. There's no reason
they
to
didn't fix that.
Yeah.
But anyways, it works pretty well and it's scary and the mood is great. Like there's a lot to like, but I think the jump scares are just too like. They're not clever. They're just there to be there, and they're constant. Like monsters are complete. They don't have footsteps. Like the environmental audio is kind of bad. Then all of a sudden, it's just like, bah! Like it's just the sound file plays. Like there's no nuance to more modern gaming that might clue you in on things. Have pitter patters. This is really just like everything is scary because everything is sudden. All the time.
Yeah,
that's great. Look at that toilet. He's got his head in the toilet.
I mean, but was it immersive? Like, did you feel like, I'm in this?
Me playing?
No, this is. I didn't have a link for.
No, I know. I didn't stream it. I like it, but it was scary, but not in a good way. But it is the scariest game I've played in that it's just literally just everything is shocking all the time.
Wow.
But just because it's like older game that's just jolty with everything. Does that make sense?
I know, I get it. Like it doesn't have the technical wherewithal when a jump scare does happen for you to take control of your life. Like it's
like quiet and then everything is loud and sudden. Like just an enemy spawning is just like, and you're like, it's like, yes, that's shocking. In 3D space, my primal brain is like predator attacking like all the time. And I don't know that I actually enjoyed it that much, so that's why I thought it would be important to share in case someone's like, I'm missing out. I don't think you are. I don't even know if I'll get back to it. I'm a little disappointed by it.
But
it's cool. It's just cool to see the game in 3D, but
I'm glad you do this stuff for the team though. Like as much
like the mods are fun.
Yeah, modding. There's an old piece. There's a piece of me that like in the mid 90s. All I cared about was modding everything. Quake, Doom, whatever. I didn't care about retail games. I cared about how much you could tear them apart later. That's all I cared about.
Right, yeah.
Making my own levels and all of that. And you're kind of doing that now, and it makes me miss those days. I think that's
I just
cool.
like seeing all the nostalgia games in 3D. It just like breathes new life into them in a weird way.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree.
Yeah.
It's cool. Also, Doom 3 is underrated. I know it's not, it's not what people wanted then, and I'm not sure it's what we want out of Doom, but as a game, it's got its moments. It's all right.
I mean, I like to think of Doom 3 as the prequel to Dead Space. Like, I feel like
there's very similar DNA.
it's
there,
very
for sure.
similar.
Yeah.
It's not a first-person shooter. It's definitely more competent in many ways. Like, it's an improvement, but the overall idea of an abandoned space. Yeah, well, that's weird. Space, like a spaceship space.
Space.
You know, it's just got environmental audio and it scares and that all that lighting. You know,
Yeah.
I just Doom. It's just Doom's a little rough, man. It's so much like jumping out at you all the time. It's too much.
Yeah, especially those pinky guys, the dog ones, whatever they
Even
are.
get that far. It's just the regular old humans. Like they're so jerky. Like like it's like there's nobody here. Then you hear, and then they're there and they're in your face. You're like, ah! You drop your gun.
Yeah, there wasn't anything really clever about the horror in that game.
Yeah,
with a couple of like sections that maybe stand out as a little different, but I also think that those were held back by the premise of everyone just being like, why can't I hold a flashlight and a gun at the same time?
Yeah.
Good news. In the mod, you can in each hand.
Well, it turns out when you have control of your hands, you can do two things.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's the one cool thing.
It's funny you brought up Doom this week because I had a friend this week point out that the Doom guys that float, the red balls that have
The
big mouths.
cacodemons.
Is that what they were called? I always forget what they're called.
Academons.
Here, I'll pull these up so you can see this. He pointed out that there they are from the front. But the thing I never noticed, look at the butthole these things have. Look at the back of this thing. It's going up on the stream right now. Look at that. It's like
Oh yeah, they've got holes.
I didn't know that. I have never noticed
Not
it.
that big. I'm surprised the hole is that small. You know.
I don't know if the Doom 2016 or Eternal ones do, but
No, they do. They're there.
Oh,
I thought they
really?
only had one eye. This must be like a weird.
I think we mix them up
Map
with
of it?
like the one-eyed.
Did they have two eyes in the old Doom?
Yeah, I think
Could
so.
be. Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Thought they did. I think
Could
I
be.
mix them up with Eye of the Beholder or something like that.
Hey, they got two poop holes. There's one hole above the other one.
I think that they're all female, and that's a vajay hole. I think.
You sure it's not like chicken related? Because chickens have.
Like a cochlea.
Yeah.
cochlea hole. Like he's
Oh.
got an alien hell cochlea and an anus. Cochlea.
Oh shit! You're telling me that we never knew this, but these things were laying eggs somewhere. That's the whole. These are the egg layers. They come to Earth and they poop out their eggs.
I mean,
Yeah.
who are they copulating with?
That's a good question. The demon, the robot demons. Every time.
Like I hate to meet the male cacodemon or whatever because his thing would just be dangling under his round.
Yeah, and if you're at home offended by any of this language, we're just talking about regular procreation. This isn't that.
Hey,
makes sense.
cacodemons have to copulate too.
Yeah, it's how we make
don't know
more of
enough
us.
about them.
Yeah, it's how we make more of them.
Maybe if we knew more about them, we wouldn't fight each other.
Damn straight. On that thought, everybody, we're going to take a break and we're
No,
going to think
wait,
about
wait,
what
wait,
we've
wait,
done.
wait,
Oh,
one
sorry, you had
shout out.
more.
I just
go ahead.
I just gotta. Yeah, it'd be quick. Promise.
No,
But
go ahead. You're good.
I watched The Last of Us.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is video game related.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
enjoyed it. And
Oh,
I just
good.
wanted to say because I was a little bit like, Last of Us comes up, and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I actually kind of was watching it, and I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
I kind of maybe want to play it when it comes out on PC. So it's a development. I like to admit when I'm wrong about something.
I think
It's
that's
like
good.
another
Well,
zombie show,
Mm.
man.
Mm.
And I'm like, it's pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie. I think,
And
the
it's
show's
pretty
good.
different too. I mean, like, it doesn't lean very heavily on the zombie aspect of the zombie show.
I mean, episode 2 is my least favorite. It was okay, but all the other stuff, I don't know. I mean, Pedro goes a long way to making everything good,
I agree.
But
Bella Ramsey also very
the
good.
third episode was barely, it was about Nick Offerman and Jordan Peterson in a gay relationship, and I loved that
Jordan
episode.
Peterson.
And
He was.
that was
He's a lot like Jordan Peterson. You're not wrong with that comparison.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
I thought it was him at first. Like, sat up in my chair, and I was like, oh,
you know, I think we should have more flowers here and take better advantage of the zombies not being in our gated community. Like if that was Jordan Peterson, I couldn't probably watch the show, but it's it's really good, and I'm really glad to hear that. And John's right, like the zombies in those games and the the games are more important because you got to mechanically deal with them, but in the show, it's like, no, they're just a catalyst for human change, and it's how the humans are behaving in that catalyst. It's really not about, how
it's a fun ride,
more zombies. Yeah,
I think some people are going a little crazy, but we're allowed to be fans of things we like, so I'm not going to poo-poo on them. It's like the greatest episode ever just aired on HBO Max. I'm gonna die, and I'm like, okay,
yeah.
It's a good show.
So you're not going to do it, but you just did anyway. And it's okay that you did.
It's
totally fine.
This is what I'm not going to do.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Here's the thing. Here.
Good news,
I wasn't going to do what I just did.
Yeah, you said, I'm not going to poo-poo everybody's thing, but it's the best show. I'm done. Like, you kind of... sorry. It's totally fine. It's totally fine.
But it's fine if you like it. It's just, it's a little,
It's a little overblown in your mind.
Hit you with a board like this.
There you go.
Just to show you what I'm not going to do.
I will say this. This is the good news. If you were worried that you were going to have to compete with the Super Bowl this weekend, mostly Americans, with the airing of it, they have decided to air it early on Friday. So this week's episode happens on Friday, not Sunday. So that's something to look forward to.
I may watch it early because I'm interested to watch the next episode.
Me as well.
Like I said, Cyberpunk worked on this. This may be a vehicle to make converts and actually earn sales for the game again, because I'm legit I think I might check out the game.
Yeah, PC version.
That's awesome.
Yeah, PC version.
I kind of like that we're getting to a weird symbiotic relationship between television and video game media, where it's it's bringing interest both directions. I think that's super cool.
Well, plus
it's the zombie stuff. I just think the story was. I mean, the third episode was really great. I think the test was pretty cool. I'm also really. I didn't like what's the little girl Ellie that much at first.
Yeah,
they're just kind of growing on me. I'm just like, I don't know, something's going on here, and I'm like, it's good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
and I wonder if maybe I got off the bus a little early when I played it originally back in the PlayStation days at a friend's house. So
when's that new PC version hitting? Is that soon?
It just got pushed back, but I think it's
I think it's the end of the series. I think it's timed. I think it's timed with the end of the series.
Oh, is it?
M month.
Okay.
The 20.
Could be May or could be March. But
the 20 something of an M month. It's a riddle.
Mocktober.
Go solve it yourself.
Let me ask you this: will it include all of the remakey business that the PS5 version got here recently, or is this a more straight translation?
That's what I'm curious about, because I think. You said you bounced off of the original Last of Us. Bo did as well.
Yeah.
And even going back, as much of a fan as I am of that game, the first one plays a little rough, and 2 changed that and fixed that so much. And the remake of 1, they've made it play like 2, where 2 is actually a legitimately fun game to play on top of a great story.
Right.
So now you get that with the remake. So I'm hoping that's what it is. I hope they didn't put all this work in and then just release the old version of it. But I don't know if they have actually said yet.
I mean, it seems like if you're going to do the PC version, you should have the best version. That would be a real step backwards if they don't. But I guess we'll find out in one of the M months that are coming up.
One of the M months. I am notorious if it's one of the M months, I will mix them up constantly.
Yeah. Well, it could be Mulai or Mogust. Those are coming.
Mocktober.
Oh, Mocktober is my favorite month of the year. Actually, it is October.
Manuary is my favorite.
Manuary. Mebuary is hard to say, sort of. All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, it's Dear Martha. It's your voicemails, emails, texts, all that business, and a little more news. So stick around, take a quick break with us, and we'll be right back. All right. I will put that in park. I will mark it. And chat room will be back. Stay tuned. Probably record the video. There we go. Anyway, hey, we're back, everybody, and it's time for us to do a little bit of fun. We're going to do a Dear Martha right after the break here, and that's what we do each and every time, where John takes an old magazine from yesteryear and talks about it, does a little review of it. Some of you have written and said, I want to, once in a while, I still want to do the Steam reviews. Yeah, I know you do. And we'll get those sometimes. But right now we're in a mode. All right. And this
they're just hard. It's less work, but it's harder to find interesting, fun Steam reviews. So many of them have just dissolved into the same meme. Like you look up an adult game and it's just, you're going to see Shrek and you're going to say, "Are you winning, son?" And like those memes just over and over again. And it's like,
what's the one where it's always like,
you're way funnier than
why is it there's always that one where the guy goes, "I'm a 45-year-old father and I don't have a lot of time to play video games, but this one really," have you seen those? They all say the same.
Yeah. It's like the most probably not copy pasta.
Oh, it annoys me because at first I read one and thought, "Oh, this is cool, a dad and his kid bonding on a game." And then I read 4 more reviews that were identical to that. I'm like, okay, I'm getting yanked around here. It's really weird.
They're probably genuine. There's probably a lot of guys, and they find one game they really like, and there's one of them for each game on Steam. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's possible.
Yeah. Well, what half through we rot. All right, but anyway, we're going to get to this magazine review. It is, of course, I guess traditional here, John, just the normal music and all that.
Yep. Although, good luck deciding on when to do the image changes. You'll figure it out.
All right, here we go in short order.
My dearest Martha, the year is 1984, April of 1984, and the future is now. Today we look at the premiere issue of Computer Fun Magazine, the magazine of recreational computing. Formerly Electronic Fun Magazine, the magazine of recreational electronic fun. And Martha, what if I told you for $2.50 you could attain over 80 pages that would act as portals into a technological wonderland? Just look at this cover. Would you believe a computer could create this image? Well, it did. Now, I know what you're thinking. What is the purpose of a computer magazine in 1984? Well, mostly it is used to find video games. I know that may seem silly, but back then this was a real problem. See a video game you thought looked cool. How do you get it? Well, obviously the best way is to write a letter to a magazine asking them, hope your letter is chosen, and then wait for the response to be published in a future issue. Stupid. Or you can read about some hot new basic game and find yourself wondering how you can get in on that action. What if I told you this magazine was bold enough to publish the code, and you could manually copy the code page by page and then play it for yourself?
Oh, I remember this.
Just imagine, Martha. You can read about a game, and just a few hours of manual labor, you could actually play that game. At least assuming you don't make any typos. If you aren't already sold on the wondrous age, just listen to this quote. A novice who just walked out of Toys R Us can plug in the Expando RAM and gain 16K of extra memory. 16K, Martha, that anyone can install. Modems were a novelty, color was exciting, 5.5-inch diskettes were writable on both sides. This is the fun in computer fun.
Yeah.
For an ad this week, I present an ad for the game Oil Barons, the closest we'll ever get to a There Will Be Blood video game. Not since the Cars franchise have we had a fair and kind portrayal of oil barons, so we can finally properly celebrate rich people the way we should. If you want to play this game, it's available on computers, I think, and you can get it from stores. Just look up more info about it on books. I'm not gonna lie, Martha, I'm glad I missed this era. Computers are fun, and this magazine made it more fun. But lest I overload you with jubilation, I think we must bring this letter to a close. Yours in time, S. Beckett, 84.
So, So sorry, I gotta ask this question. The Forbidden Forest thing, is that what that code turns into? Or no, that's Star Patrol.
No, that's the letter. Look at what the response is. It's like, yo, magazine, tell me where I can purchase Forbidden Forest. And they write back, and in the magazine, they're like, it's made by Cosme. Write them at this address. And they'll tell you. They don't even answer his question. They're
Wow.
like, you were selected for a letter, and we're just not even going to do that work for you. Write them here.
Absolutely wild.
Whoa.
So much has changed from those heady days. Lovely as always. Always love these. Keep them up, and we'll do more next week. Look at this. We got this. Other things happened last week. There's a really interesting study released. We should mention, I think. Oh, real quick. Let me get this out of the way before we do anything else. Some people might be wondering, at home or in the chat, why we have not even remotely mentioned a massive release of a game happening this week. It's already out in some pre-order land, and it officially launches tomorrow, called Hogwarts Legacy, the Harry Potter game everybody's looking forward to. And the reason we're not talking about it today is twofold. One, mainly, none of us really care about the game. We're not playing it, not really that interested in it. And also, it's a giant freaking nightmare of controversy on every possible angle I've seen on this thing. It's horrendous, and we're not going anywhere near that flaming bag of poo you see before you. We're not going there, all right? If I step on that bag of poo, I'm going to get poo on my feet. If I try to blow it out with something else, there'll be poo on the neighbor's yard, and now they're mad at me. We're not
going to get poo on us just for not talking about it.
That's right.
So
now we fix that part. And someone's going to be mad that we did talk about it. No matter, there is a no-win solution. The only people that win are the people who don't know it exists. They won. So good job to them.
It's the Bo quote that's the more famous quote, but I attribute it to Bo. Don't wrestle with a pig. What's the quote, Bo? Say it again.
What is it?
You don't wrestle with. It's not. Yeah, don't wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty, and the pig likes it.
And the pig likes it. Exactly. We're not doing it. We don't want anything to do with it. And here's the thing. Honestly, this is the true, honest reason I'm not playing it yet. If I was playing it, I'd tell people. The main reason, outside of all the controversy, is I don't have room for another giant open world game right now, and I'm not that invested in that universe right now. Just not. It's not that I haven't been a Harry Potter fan.
I think it's a generational thing. I think it's the people that grew up with it are young adults to adults now too.
Yeah,
like it's their Transformers.
It's their thing. And in my case, I read the books. I enjoyed them quite a bit. I think I would probably enjoy that world. But you know how I struggle with hype bubbles at the time of release, and then I need to play it later when no one's talking about it? This is like the biggest example of that I can think of. There's no way I can actually enjoy myself at all with everything that's going on around it. And that's all I'm going to say. That's it. If we say any more, then again, we're wrestling with the pig and we're kicking the bag of poo. We don't want it. Go get your own bags of poo.
I think it's okay to tell people, unrelated to the Hogwarts topic, just that the Frog Pants community is an inclusive place where we want to make everyone feel welcome.
That's right.
That's an extremely good way to put it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unrelated to the game. Just throwing that out there. You take that for what it means. Save your emails, but
yeah,
we don't tolerate hate or discrimination of any kind.
No a-holes.
Unrelated.
No a-holes.
No tolerance for intolerance.
Yes.
But I'm hearing good things about the game.
Yeah, I am hearing great things.
Really enjoying it. The people that are playing it. And
it was made here in Utah. It's a Salt Lake dev company. Avalanche Studios are here. I know a bunch of people there. Really nice people. Work their butts off. I hope they have some good success from it, and I hope that I hope that works out for them. Also, it's selling really well. This is going to probably, if I had to make a prediction that's got nothing to do with anything, this will probably be the second highest selling game of the year behind Tears of the Kingdom. If I'm guessing, there's my crazy prediction of the year, is that Hogwarts will be second best selling game of the year by the end of the year. So take that for what you want. Bag of poo pushed aside. It's no longer on fire. The pig is in the pen. Moving on. Where the hell were we? Oh, the study. This is cool. It found no harm or benefit to cognitive development from video games. So before you continue thinking that video games are bad for kids, turns out maybe you were wrong. If you thought they were good for kids, turns out you
were
were wrong.
also wrong.
Yeah.
The answer is it doesn't really move the needle in either direction for them.
Right. Exactly. It's cool though. It's worth reading up about. I do a little search on it for the chat. We can put this in there so you can have access to it. But this is from the University of Houston, and it just landed, and it's super interesting. I think Bo put this in. I read it earlier today.
No, I put.
Was
I
it
put
you?
it in.
Okay.
That's a John.
It's a John post. It's very interesting because I think there's just a ton of assumptions, and have been for decades now, on games, their effect on cognitive development in kids, one direction or the other. And of course, we come from the biased group of gamers where we want it to be true that this stuff's not bad for kids. And there are people who who really wish that they were good for kids. I think we just, as it turns out, it's just kind of a thing. It's just like saying, hey,
wow.
Well,
also worth noting.
Yeah, go ahead.
That this targets cognitive development. This is not broaching topics of video game addiction.
Oh, of course.
It's not broaching what,
right,
ignoring your responsibilities to play video games might
do.
But,
or what skills you might, if you're a young person playing SimCity and you learn about taxes and property management on some level, like there's benefits to learning things. Like the alternatives, they're like, go play outside and dig a ditch or throw a ball around. What am I learning to throw? It's like you can learn things in games.
No, you're absolutely right. This is just saying your cognitive development is not hindered or heightened by it. Right. If you're learning that from a game, great. If you're learning it from being outside, great. Whatever it is you're learning it from, your cognitive development to be able to learn things is not being hindered or heightened by this.
That's good news. That's all.
It is good news.
The game hate, and
yeah,
it's good to get some exercise. I mean, let the kids run around too. I don't think that's a bad thing.
mean, for me, I can say playing Myst when I was really little really helped me with the concept of, like progressive thinking, as far as like, this impacted this, which impacted this. Like that was a skill I learned in that game and developed in that game. So it may not have helped me be a better thinker in general, but it showed me a style of thinking that I wasn't exercising until I played that game. At least not as heavily.
Absolutely.
Can I tell a cute story too about games?
Yeah, of course.
Crofton, when Snap came out, he's into Marvel. He hates trading card games, so he's actually playing it. We talk about it. And his I don't know how old she is. I think she's 8 or 9. His eldest daughter, like he likes to play games with her. They play all kinds of Switch games together, and they started playing Snap together. Crofton can't beat his 9-year-old daughter at Snap, which is like he's constant. Like he's like, I'm not trying to lose to give her an advantage. She literally beats me constantly. And today we were talking because how in that game you can kind of pay to get ahead. So the only reason he started beating her was he has cards ahead of her. Like, and you play in the new battle mode that they have. I just think it's adorable though that he can't beat his 9-year-old. It's like, I look at him like there's something to that, right? Like kids are smarter because of video games. Like their ability to like see and put things together outpaces a person who also grew up playing video games.
Yeah, but the point there is that, I mean, that, and they're also surrounded by a lot of technology that helps sort of aid in that. So they just, they grow up with touchscreens and computers that do things for them, and then all that. So that is all good. It's just good to know that gaming itself does not stop the natural progression of one's cognitive growth.
Yeah.
And that's good. But I'm also very glad to hear that Crofton's getting his ass kicked by his kids.
Yeah, no, I've enjoyed. That's why I want to share that story. It's fun. Like I told you suck at video games.
That's a thrill, honestly. That's great.
Yeah, I think it's probably humbling in a way that's good for character growth, though. So
yeah,
your kids, you beam with pride. Your kids are like smarter than you.
Yeah, unless they're dicks in Fortnite or something. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think before 12 or 13, when kids start being, jerks.
Sure,
it's just adorable. But and the other thing I wanted to just mention briefly too, because I don't think the science is definitive on this, but I have read something saying that might not be the case with VR.
Oh,
I think I saw something. They were measuring brain patterns of people on VR because they use VR a lot for neuroscience because of the way it stimulates the brain and when they're monitoring the brain. and they say it's a lot like when a person's on acid.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So I'm like, I heard that. I'm like, maybe you shouldn't let kids use VR. He's like, it's like giving them acid, but I don't know if
The other one is eye development and how your eyes settle into whatever neural pathways they're going to permanently use. You don't want kids under 12 using VR because that stuff's not done. You're not fully cooked. And that's a problem or something. I don't remember where I read that.
You could you're still wiring up your brain, I guess, up until your 20s. Like maybe it'll do something too. I mean, I don't know, and it's hard to tell the sensationalism from the legit science.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I
kind of believe it like that. I stopped Skyrim immediately when that vehicle-sized spider descended on me in the dungeon. It just left. I was like lying in bed and I could see the spider descending me on bed. I'm like, it did something to me. It was too terrifying. It was very traumatizing.
Did you? Is that when you quit? Like that's straight up when you left the game? And
I was like, I didn't quit, but like I was playing a lot, and then I kind of just after that I was like, I don't think I can. I don't want to see a vehicle-sized spider. I just don't need it in my life. They don't exist. I don't want it.
Yeah.
And if it's also like being on acid, maybe my brain is like messed up now permanently. I was like, I don't know. It's kind of intense.
Wow. I still think you should stream more of that game. It's fun to watch you do that one.
All right, I will.
No pressure, but anyway.
No. I do. I miss it. The spiders are keeping me away, honestly.
3 more quickies here. Dead Cells Castlevania DLC arrives March 6th. That's something to look forward to. Very much looking forward to that. That'll be on everything, all current platforms it exists on, including I found out the Apple Arcade version of Dead Cells will get the DLC that day as well. So watch for that.
This is a great excuse to start playing Dead Cells again.
Yeah, Dead Cells is so good.
Yeah.
Kind of in the mood.
I just like even just the music and like they kind of hyped it up. Like just the remixed Castlevania music is so good.
Yeah. Plus the backgrounds and just some of the stuff that just looks great. Oh, I'm so excited. Activision Blizzard remains confident even after the UK's latest statement. Basically, they're saying, hey, come up with ways to divest yourself from some of the more problematic parts of this acquisition. And
Call of Duty.
Call
of Duty. Like that's it.
And even Blizzard.
What it's all about.
The UK even made a comment, or some of the regulators basically said, well, you could sell Blizzard and make it, it could be off doing its own thing. And I'm like, well, what are you trying to? If you nickel and dime this thing down, the value of the $69 billion immediately goes down. It will kill the deal if they regulate. And even though they could have whatever rules they want here, it'll get approved here for the most part, and other parts of the world, they need all territories for this to work. And if the EU goes real hard on it, I think Microsoft backs out. That's my current prediction.
I don't think Sony's concerned about Blizzard, two different platforms. You know what I mean?
Not really.
Yeah.
It's not on it. Issue. I enjoyed Bobby though getting in with his threats.
His stupid Death Valley quote. Jesus, Bobby.
Oh, Bobby Kotick, yeah.
Yeah, he's already in trouble for threatening his secretary's life. Now he's like, they don't let deals like this come through. Instead of, it's going to be Death Valley.
Yeah, what's that
even mean? Instead of
a
UK Silicon Valley, you'll be Death Valley.
Death Valley. You're all going to die.
He's like, you can't live. You can't live without our capital. You don't understand our business. Say yes to our agreement, or you're stupid.
Yeah,
we're gonna bring people jobs. This company that just fired a lot of people, we can bring them jobs, though.
You can hear when he says stuff. I can just feel the Microsoft people going, just shut up during this. Let us do this. Let us talk for you. You don't need to say anything, you dumbass. Anyway, and then also speaking of Blizzard is shutting down WoW's in-game Twitter integration. Oh, what a shame. The thing I never used once.
Twitter is shutting down Blizzard's integration as well.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point because to continue it, they were using the free API to do it, and Twitter announced they're shutting down the free API. You can still do the API. It's $100 a month, and nobody's biting except bot farms who are willing to spend that because they make a lot more on the bot and harassment end. But Blizzard's like, yeah, we're good. We don't use it that often, so. It's not in here anymore. I don't think I ever used it, not even once.
I wonder when we're going to hit the off ramp. I know everyone's ready to go, but nobody's ready to go.
I think a lot of people are, there's a lot of alternatives. I've, held my name at a lot of alternatives, but I don't really use them. And it's mostly just because, while I don't think Twitter, as far as my use case, because you can point to some things that have been good changes, but as far as my user experience, Twitter has not improved lately. It's gotten a lot worse, as a matter of fact.
Agreed.
And in that case, I think I'm at a spot where it's like, well, eventually this is going to probably hit a point where I'm like, okay, I might go somewhere else. And I think a lot of people will. And then I think we'll see, somebody new. I honestly don't know if any of the ones that already exist will be the new destination. I think a lot of people are just kind of hedging their bets on it right now.
Yeah.
I think if they wanted to, I think Discord would be in a really good place to make something happen if they wanted to.
Yeah, I've said that
feels
for
like
a while.
more and more Discord and Discord servers are becoming popular, and if they wanted to offer something in the vein of Twitter, I think they could. Actually pose a real threat to
all they have to do is just have a front-facing public microblogging front end, and you just say, "Hey, I'm Frog Pants, whatever." On Discord. I mean, you could, in a heartbeat, they should do this. I don't know why they're not. Maybe they are.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I agree with you. That'd be a good one.
But I think Twitter is functioning well enough that most people are just like, we're riding it out to see what happens. I don't think it's dead yet. For some people it is, obviously some people have left, but I think that for a lot of people, it's like, it's annoying. It's worse in ways, but it's still the best at this thing. And I'm with it until that's no longer the case, and then we'll figure out where we go. We'll end up wherever we end up.
They got hit with a denial of service attack the other day or yesterday, I guess. And you got this message when you tried to tweet that said, you've already hit your daily allowed number of tweets. And it was because they were trying to mitigate the DDoS attack, which I understand. But why that message was that is a huge red flag for me. What that tells me is this Twitter blue shit that keeps getting quote unquote features is going to get a feature that lets them tweet as much as they want, and the rest of us are going to have a cap of some sort. Because why is that the message? Why isn't it, we're overloaded right now, sorry, come back later? Why is it, you've reached your limit, give me a freaking break?
The crazy thing is like, it's so much drama and so much talking. I'm genuinely not worried about it, though. Even though I use Twitter a lot. I like Twitter in general. I'm just not worried about it. Like, one, I think a forced hiatus from it would probably be good for me. And there's probably this feeling of like, oh, that'll be therapeutic when we get there.
Yeah.
But also, we've been through this so many times, like, already. Like, people are like, where do we go? What's going to be next? Whatever's next will be next. Like, it will happen, just like Twitter happened. Yeah. It will just happen. People will see that there is a need for this sort of thing, and someone will fill it. And if it's not good, people won't use it. We will go to the one that is good when it exists. So,
yeah, that's what I was saying
earlier. To
me,
it's just not worth getting too bent out of shape about it.
That's why I said earlier, I kind of wish Twitter had a burn down moment so that we just all had no choice.
Yeah.
To go do something else, and that that's not going to happen because you don't spend $44 billion, with a B, for a thing and then just have it crash out. I mean, you could, I suppose, have it crash out and sell the assets, and I mean, I don't know what the end game is for it, to be honest, but it's so weird right now, and it's such a mad dash to like figure out ways to make immediate profitability that I just think it's making it so much worse to be there.
Just make it to where if you want to post GIFs, you have to be a Twitter Blue subscriber.
Oh my lord.
Just put GIFs behind a paywall and everyone will pay. That's it.
I don't know,
you just gotta limit people's access to GIFs. Give them GIFs, and also they can have animated Twitter icons.
I mean,
again.
basically,
you'll immediately get a lot more Twitter Blue.
If they're trying to create basically convert the entire site to just a paid site, because that's kind of what this feels like. That's just what they're converting it to. It's such a red scarlet letter to have hanging around your neck to have that blue check mark say you paid for it. Like, people hate those people because those people are kind of dicks.
That's what I said when the whole, it's probably going to happen, but the whole rumor about TweetDeck going behind a paywall happened was I would be more willing to pay for TweetDeck just by itself, just like let me subscribe to using TweetDeck. I would be for more than a Twitter Blue.
Oh yeah, turn off the check. The check means nothing.
features of Twitter Blue.
No, the check means nothing. It means nothing anymore. Like verification, that's out the window. Who cares now? That's not what they're doing. They're just saying, hey, you want a blue check? Like, to me, that there's no value in the blue check by making it so everybody can buy a blue check. There's no value.
No. The plan is to monetize everything so that he gets paid back for what he spends.
Right. So take the blue check off. You know what? I'm with John. Let's say the service continues and even gets better or whatever, more robust. I'll pay for features I want to use. That isn't my problem. I don't want your damn check that says he paid for the feature. F off. I don't want that. And I also don't want 4,000 characters. Does. That new 4,000 character limit they're introducing for blue people. I don't know if you guys heard about that. That's a thing. That's happening. That's being implemented soon. 4,000 characters per post from these blue check
I would
marked
make
a-holes.
Twitter profitable so fast. I got like, if you want to use the Nathan Fillion reaction of him going, you have to pay $1 for it. We'd make Twitter profitable off Ryan Reeder alone.
You think so? Yeah. Just pay per GIF, like the hot GIFs get.
You got. Did you buy
right?
Nathan Fillion looking perplexed? Well, now you can use Nathan.
That is the Twitch business model.
Mm-hmm. It
is emotes. Like, if there was a way to, you probably could. I don't know.
Well, here's the problem, Bo. That genie's out of the bottle in a couple of ways. One, none of that stuff can be server based and not be taken, so people can take it. But the other problem is these GIFs that are already being put on Twitter are all being funneled through there via Giphy, which is now a completely owned subsidiary of Facebook/Meta. They own Giphy.
Oh no!
So they'd have to come up with their own GIF system.
You want your hot GIFs? You got to go to Facebook. We got you back.
Yeah, there you go. That's the thing. I mean, honestly,
I stopped using Facebook because of people's walls of text about whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, get ready for blue checked 4,000 character.
4,000 characters. Here's why you should buy the coin I support. The Bitcoin I support. And then, something about something irrelevant. Like, there's so much irrelevant stuff popping up on my For You page, too. Like, it's awful.
It's a lot.
Oh, and they're monetizing replies.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. They're paying. Basically, it's in effect, this is what it'll be. If you troll hard enough, you will get paid because you're incentivized to troll in threads where there are ads because you'll now share whatever pittance of the revenue sharing there is in there. So you have to pay to do it. So you be a blue thing. You go in there and you be a total dick. And the more dickish you are, the more engagement you get from people who are mad at you. Ergo, more money. It's a pyramid scheme. It sucks.
You buy a few farm accounts so that the real low IQ guy in there saying some real weird stuff will use respond and get him riled up so he responds even more and try to get other people to jump in so that you can profit from.
It's so shitty.
Yeah, like I hate it. There's nothing good about this.
I really dislike it.
My wife showed me yesterday a tweet that you posted, Scott. Yeah. You know how now underneath replies it's like more stuff from Twitter.
Yeah.
She clicked one of your tweets, and on the more stuff from Twitter it was just a picture of a naked lady.
Oh yeah.
Just posted a nude picture of herself just right below one of your tweets.
Yeah.
She's like, look at this.
No, it's
just
already
hanging
happening.
out below Scott's tweet.
It's already happening, and that stuff will get worse and worse. Porn stuff will not be stopped. I've already had that happen 6 times today on my different tweets. And the other thing is, I think that's how I got to see Tommy Lee's testicles today, because those were floating around.
Oh,
yep.
That's a thing. Tommy Lee, the drummer, Pamela Anderson's ex-husband, he put up a picture of his wiener and testicles.
Like recently taken, or like an ancient...
like the last couple of days. So these are,
and everyone's sharing it. It's like, look at what Tommy Lee did, his testicles.
Yes, and suddenly those are in my reply threads. It sucks. That's stupid.
Yeah, I think I saw a video of someone getting shot or something too.
Yeah, that's the other thing. There's like full-on snuff video going on.
Well, something will happen. It'll be tastefully distributed by the main news channel, but some butthole's got to post the real deal. And that's stuff like that showing up a lot in my feed too. And I'm like, I didn't want to see someone die this morning.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, and it's not just that stupid For You tab, which I hate. It's showing up in just article threads. And then I'm not even
before For You, like it was already once you could see what other people like.
Yeah.
I'm like, sometimes it's okay, but some people like porn.
Yeah, I don't want to see
someone I unfollowed because they were liking, porn. I'm like, I don't have a problem with it. but I'm
like what you like.
It's just jarring reading Scott's got a picture of his eggs and burrito, and then there's a naked. I'm like, I just came here for the egg burrito. What do you call it? The
funny eggs.
Burrito.
Funny eggs, or whatever. I came here for Scott's funny eggs, not this stuff. Like it's, I hate.
You know what?
You were doing a euphemism when you said eggs and burrito.
Yeah, I know. It sounded like a joke for Tommy Lee's balls and dick. But anyway, I was going to say this about you. You replied to something I said either today or yesterday or something, and your reply did not show up in my replies.
I'm a poor person.
Any of the two columns, it wasn't there. So
I'm a poor person, and I'm not elite like you, and you're like legacy verified.
But my point
is,
good
friends and talk all the time. I'm down with the poor, the peanut gallery or whatever.
And that's how I found you. I had to dig down through threads. I had to dig down through like a nightmare super long thread, and I'm like, oh, Bo replied to this. Why is he not in my replies? It's not even useful. What a piece of shit site. Yeah. What a garbage website. F you, Twitter. I'll usually tell you something better comes along. All right. Moving on.
That was a diversion.
There's a new segment on Core called F you, Twitter.
Yeah, F you, Twitter. I got a good one here. Quick email from a listener. This is from Paul Psyopic. That's a cool name, if it's real. Or even if it's not. Psyopic, maybe?
If it's real? Wait, what?
It might be a nickname.
What does that mean, Scott? Is that his real name? If that's
GPT might have.
That's true. We were on DTNS last week, and somebody sent an email that day that sounded fine. They read the email, and at the PS, it says, P.S. This entire thing was written in ChatGPT.
Oh, they gotcha. Yeah.
So it happens. But anyway, the reason I say Psyopic is it sounds like maybe that's his nickname. I don't know. But Paul, thanks for sending this in. He says, to heck with gay Denny's, the gay Denny's in Arizona. Says, in Toronto, we've had a Hooker Harvey's for decades, he says.
What?
Hooker Harvey's, Bo. It's exactly.
I've never heard of Hooker Harvey's.
Well, Harvey's is the place. He calls it Hooker Harvey's like we say gay Denny's. So the hooker part is the descriptor. Harvey's is the place, I assume.
Oh, yeah, there's even a picture on Reddit of Hooker Harvey's.
It says exactly what it sounds like. A 24-hour Harvey's. It's a Canadian burger joint in the middle of the red light district downtown. It's full of hookers. So.
Wait, what? Does it actually say Hooker Harvey's?
No, just Harvey's. Just Harvey's. But like here, like John's.
But the picture Bo posted, it says Hooker Harvey's on the outside of it.
Oh,
yeah.
What? Is that real?
Wait, is that a photoshopped one?
Because, like, gay Denny's is just what we call it. It's not advertised as gay Denny's.
What is? Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
Literally Google Map Hooker Harvey's and the. Okay, I'm gonna Google Map it, see if it actually.
What's all the stuff out there? What's all the stuff on the street?
Trash. I don't know. People getting mad about Hooker Harvey's. I don't know.
I'm looking at like a AI.
Why does anybody do anything?
It's like an AI image or some shit.
No, it's just Harvey's. It's not Hooker Harvey's. That's a Photoshop.
Okay. But that's what it's known for, so someone photoshopped
I think I found it on Google Maps. It's 123 Gerrard Street East in Toronto, Ontario. Can't dox a restaurant. Don't get mad at me. They want you to know where they are.
Yeah, I would assume so.
It doesn't look seedy. Unfortunately, the Google car came by during the day.
Wow.
There is a pretty seedy looking Econo Lodge across the street, though.
Somebody got on top of the roof. Hey,
look, both restaurants can exist and be fine. You know, I'm not gonna poo-poo Hooker Harvey's, but gay Denny's is a fine Denny's.
Chat room says these are food trays, but are they generating out of the nowhere, like out of the void?
Yeah, this is some like Into the Spider-Verse, the other universe is popping up out of the ground business here.
Yeah, I don't get it. All right, well, there's that. Thank you for that. We do have another call too today. This is interesting. He's talking about, Bo, this may help with your game. I don't know, but
okay.
This is somebody who called in about weird stuff they saw at work, and I'll leave it at that. Here you go.
I am a county deputy who worked their way up starting in the jail and catching up on shows, listening to Haunted Laundry, and I have a butthole story. We had a guy come in who was pissed off. He had to be in jail, so we give him a golf pencil if they asked for one when they needed to write letters or something. He seemed pretty cool, so we gave him a golf pencil. 15 minutes later, he pushes a little medical button, gets pissed off, and says, "Hey, I have a golf pencil up my butt. You need to take me to the hospital." Side note, inmates like to think that if they go to the hospital, they're not going to have to go to jail, or when they're in jail, they'll get out of jail if they go to the hospital. That's not the case. So we informed him of that. Probably about 30 minutes later, we heard a screaming coming from his cell. So we all go over there. This guy is naked, face down on his little bench. He somehow got in his single-man cell in our booking area. They have an air vent. He somehow got the wire from the air vent, silver tubing, shoved up his butt as he's laying down on the bench. So we look in, and I see naked man with metal string wire coming from the butt to the air vent. He was pissed off. It was an ordeal. It was a lot. So, golf pencil, metal wire from air conditioning tubing. That's my butthole story. God. I love you guys. I listen to you guys all the time in the middle of the night when I'm on night shift and nothing's going on. So, keep it up. Y'all help me when we have some bad days. Listen to y'all. It's a better day. So that's it. Love you guys. Bye.
Love that call.
Who was your name? I didn't catch your name.
I don't think she gave the name. I don't think she said her name. Let's see if we try.
I want to say love you back.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling in and sharing that.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Unbelievable.
She described it so well. The laying face down with the metal. I can picture the metal wire like covering that she's talking about. I mean, if you really want to feel an electrocution, getting it on the inside instead of on the skin is probably wild.
Oh yeah, dude.
But
nasty.
Wow.
Can you imagine? Wow. I assume we have other people on various forces around the world who probably have seen worse things, or people in hospitals. So I'm not saying we want to hear all your stories, but we'll play them if you send them in. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of do.
I kind of do too.
You got to make them at least as good as that one. Yeah. So the bar has been set.
We were talking about traumatizing professions, and like I know there's a lot of controversy with police and that kind of thing. Great conversations to have. I just watched We Own This City actually, which is really good. It's by the guy who did The Shield and The Wire and stuff. I enjoyed it, but. Like, that's a traumatizing job.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just trying to, work in a prison. It's a public service. You do bad, you got to pay the punishment. It's like people are shoving shit up their ass all day.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's funny how they all think of this. If they get in the hospital, that somehow is going to get them out of their
Well, they're missing a key ingredient, the breakout gang. I was listening to an episode of Stuff You Should Know a long time ago. They're talking about cigarettes. It was either prisons or cigarettes, but... what you would do is you get cigarettes, mash them up in water, and that can kill you. You drink it, you get sick, and then you get taken to the hospital. On your way to the hospital, people break you out. The point is you get out of prison and go to the hospital to get broken out because security. There's that's maybe the 1960s. I don't know if you can get away with it nowadays.
Right,
but. You don't get to forego. The judge isn't like, oh, you poor little darling, you went to the hospital, you accidentally got a golf pencil up your ass.
Accidentally, yeah.
Those mean old jail guards, they need to be more careful. We'll let you off of that. We'll reduce your sentence.
Ain't happening.
Because you're such a good little boy.
Yeah. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, that was a great call.
That was great. Thank you for that. And if you'd like to call in, leave your own voicemails, you can. It is at 801-471-0462. It is time to play our weekly mashup. That's right. Jamie's been busy putting one together. The title of this one is, Lady in the Bed. The votes went down like this. A bunch of you were polled on Twitter, and 62.9% of you think I said it. 28.6% believe Bo said it. And John got a paltry 8.6.
Oh, I like that everyone that you said "Lady in the Bed" because I voted for you too.
Did you?
I voted for you as well.
I just kind of picture you saying it like she's the lady in the bed.
I might have said that.
Lady in the Bed just sounds like a Scott thing, like and
or a Beatles song, or maybe Roy Orbison, "Lady in the Bed."
It has that feeling of you were trying to think of a thing that was a real thing. And because rather than think about it, you gotta fill the air. So you're like, well, Lady in the Bed. That's what I thought of.
I might have done that, and it's some.
And then the true answer was, fried green tomatoes or something.
Sure.
But you said Lady in the Bed.
Yeah, whatever it may be. Well, we're gonna find out because I don't actually know either. I don't know who I voted for here. I think I voted for John just so it wasn't me. But
you even titled that MP3 guy that got stuff in his bum.
Yeah, literally called that MP3 file
kind
guy
of the
that
same
got stuff in his
Lady
bum.
in the Bed.
Yep. So I might do that again. Let's find out as we listen to this mashup this week from Jamie. It's impossible to take that out of me. It's been in me so long, you can't take it out. And there was something really comfortable about it. Like just, oh yeah, right. This is nice. I like this.
We don't wear condoms here. No one knows.
Nobody's wearing condoms.
For various reasons.
Yeah.
Some of us are married, some of us are single.
Bo doesn't have a spoon. You think he's got condoms? Come on, figure it out.
He doesn't have a spoon, so why would he have condoms? Fair question, Scott.
The direct comparison.
You know what? In the light of that logic, how can we go on?
Wow! Oh my gosh, you're spraying his whole face with this. Alexa, show me someone who looks like they're between the age of 20 and 50. I didn't even say your name, A-word. Alexa, stop. I used the other word. I used the Siri word.
No, you did say Alexa.
I did?
Alexa.
Yeah.
It's the pill, damn it. It's the pill. It's making me
you don't know
lose
what
it.
AI you're talking to now.
Oh, shit.
Since,
My goodness.
You're getting your money's worth now.
Scott is an old man just going to be in his room. Alexa. Nobody's answering.
I thought I said Siri. I really did. But I think it represents stuff you're into still. Although you still into the pinky
Yeah, it's
inky
kind of a
or-
hall of fame of like, if I like something in a given week, then up it goes.
Remind me of the K-pop girls again. It's Pink Stink or something. What's the thing? They got a name.
Oh my gosh, Pink Stink?
It's not that. It's like Pink
I don't think that's the name, Scott.
Pink Belly or Pinkerton. The Pinkertons. What is it?
You're thinking of Blackpink. That's not who this is.
Blackpink. That's not them?
No, I'm a real K-pop fan. I'm not a mainstream K-pop fan.
It'll all make sense once you see it.
Sorry, I shouldn't ask questions. You're pulling Johnson's, not trying to explain the whole thing.
Yeah,
right
this
now.
Johnson is, oh man, it's all out. Everyone can see it now. You can see my Johnson now.
Yeah, they can see your blue dragon.
Oh, my lord. What are those balls called where you touch the outsides and electricity comes out and touches your fingers? Testicles?
Oh, are you talking about
Tesla ball. Is it close to testicles?
something ball? I got one over there.
The one where you touch it and all the electricity comes out.
Makes
and
your
goes
hair stand on your
Yeah,
end.
yeah, that thing. Whatever that's. I know there's a word for it. I can't think of it. Chat room.
It might be Tesla balls.
Ah, crap.
Elon balls.
Elon balls. That's it.
I mean,
I don't
maybe
know.
it's because they lost all their dildo artists.
Right? All the dildo people
Like
moved
it
on.
could have just been a logistics thing, which is like
AI
all-
wasn't around to generate dildos for them. They had to just, those are handcrafted
They're like,
dildos.
we can only make stuff with what we're good at. And we only have the people animators, not the dildo guys.
And then I'm like, all right, but what about the lady in the bed? Do I even need to find out what's going on there?
Nope,
It's weird.
just don't worry about it.
It's a weird choice.
Lady in the Bed would be a great song.
Hey, Lady in the Bed. It sounds like a Neil Diamond hit, doesn't it?
An 80s song. Lady in the Bed.
Lady in the Bed.
Oh my
Ain't
God.
no big
What are
surprise.
you doing out there all alone
In the bed.
in the bed?
Make sure you reestablish that the bed is in play.
That's right.
In the bed. That's 80s rules,
We
baby.
don't want to go too far on this lyrical journey without reestablishing setting.
That is true.
Look, take their high standards elsewhere. This is the 80s. We don't have them here.
Oh man, it's too funny
True.
that we didn't
I sang
remember
the
it.
exact same melody line before we played it.
Yep.
Oh my God. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm
Well
a
done.
caricature of myself.
Well done. That cracked me up.
There was something I wanted to talk about, but so much happened in there.
Oh, something from there? What was it?
Yeah.
You remember?
Oh, shit. I don't remember now.
Next time you remember, put a GIF up on
Oh,
your
yeah,
screen.
yeah. Pinkertons.
Oh, the Pinkertons.
You know when Scott's reaching, but he says like the wrong thing. He's thrown stuff. We did it a couple times today with dissertation. He's
Sure.
like dysentery. I get it. I get it's close, but
Right.
the pink K-pop and the Pinkertons.
And the Pinkertons, yeah.
I'm like Kevin Costner and some like
a
the
Western, yeah.
Pinkertons.
Dude, the Pinkertons are my favorite trope in Westerns. I love it when the Pinkertons come around. That's all I can think
It's
of.
always the Pinkertons.
I still
yeah.
don't remember their name. Black Pink, is that it? Or Pink Black?
Blackpink.
Okay.
Is,
That is a
Blackpink
K-pop.
all up in your area.
Is that a lady or a whole group?
It's four lady group.
Okay. And they're K-poppers and they're starting to eat up BTS fame a little bit, right? Aren't they starting to
I think
rise?
BTS is the big male group, and Blackpink is like the most globally known
Okay.
girl group because
Okay.
they're kind of divided in between the genders.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been branching out from ITZY. I've been listening to a lot of Twice lately.
Oh, twice.
Yeah,
That
it's kind of it's like you know you know when you get like a disease, there's like a little spot, and then you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
I know.
maybe it's fine, and then you
Oh.
look, and then it's all over your arm, and you're like, yeah, my
We've all
K-pop,
been there.
my my love of K-pop is like expanding, and I'm concerned because it's like
you're like Tom
feel
Merritt.
a bit old, and what?
Tom Merritt's really into it too right now. You'd be
Yeah, I saw he was like tweeting excitedly about going to a Blackpink concert, and I was like, I feel less alone. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, he helped you out there.
But I don't know what it is. It's
Oh.
wholesome, but not in a cruddy way, I guess.
Well,
So,
if you get,
That's gonna be my fault too.
no,
Kissy-
you didn't do that.
Kissy-
one. That wasn't you. Sorry.
What happened?
Nothing.
What?
You had a weird glitch with your voice, and John had a look on his face like, "Are they going to blame me for that one?"
No. But I see we have some once in the chat room. Kissy Bears is like, I love Twice, and I'm like, yeah, I know what you mean. It's like it's not that I don't like that I like it. I'm just concerned. I'm concerned for myself.
Okay.
But
As long as that skin growth isn't all black and pink, you'll be fine.
But
Everything
Twice
will
is
work
really awesome. I just they're great. It's more music that makes you feel good, And it's just I don't know if I'm hitting that age where I'm just like I just want to enjoy things.
Just want to enjoy things, yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
And I'm just like I enjoy it, so whatever.
Good news is this: if you're a fan of Gorillaz, which I am, I've always been a big fan. Their new album, which only has 4 tracks out right now, the rest hit on the 24th or whatever. I say they, it's one dude and an animator, but anyway, that new stuff from Gorillaz, so good.
I've only heard the one song, but I really like it.
The Cracker Island one.
Yeah.
On
that
Cracker
song's
Island,
awesome.
it was born. Yeah, it's really good.
It is catchy as hell.
Catchy as hell.
That'll get in your head and just live there for a long time.
And the whole rest of those tracks that are out, all good. If the rest of the album is as good as this, it's the best work he's done. I can't wait. It's so good. And the videos are great because those characters are cool. Anyway, hey, I want to mention some patrons. We got new ones. Patreon.com/core show. Eric Klein, Stako. I could go for some Stako.
This is a great name.
I don't know. Steako sounds like
I'm just surprised
ground
Scott
up
isn't
knockoff
ending
steak.
all of these with "if that is your."
If that is your real name, even if it isn't, I love it. Carla Ortiz, Ian Weatherall, and Lauren O, along with Ryan Lewis. They are all brand new patrons this week, and we love them as much as we love all you current ones. Please stick around and be a part of our growing concern here at Core. Patreon.com/Core Show. You'll never get commercials. You get pre-show content every week and other monthly benefits by joining up today. Go read all about it at patreon.com/Core Show. All right. I think that's going to do it. Unless I missed something.
What a beautiful episode. 4 hours, chat room.
Oh my Lord. Is it 9 o'clock? Holy
I
shit.
think pre-show is going to be a bit disappointed.
Yeah.
I don't think it's our strongest Patreon episode.
Well, we had all kinds of glitches, man. It was all.
There's a lot of
They
tech
can't all be
issues.
winners.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
can't all be
There
winners.
was a lot of problems.
Also,
Hey, we
it's
do
only
this every
been
week,
the
you know.
show is only 3 hours 10 minutes. It's that pre-show that went long because we had all that tech issue. But anyway,
If you want, I think you should still listen to the pre-show if you're a patron. I still think it's great. People said they liked what was going on, so it's fine.
yeah, it's all good.
Remember, Scott said last week that he didn't want to give away Dead Space, and we heard nothing but positive things, including the phone call you played,
Yeah.
enjoying what occurred during that time.
It was
So,
insane. If you missed it, go back and listen to it. And maybe something like that is about to happen right now. Nope, not really. We're going to have Grandma tell us what games we played so we can get out of here. Grandma, tell it.
And everybody liked it when I went real fast, so I'm going to go fast again because everybody said, speed it up, Grandma.
Hurry up,
So if
Grandma.
you like the games we played Scott. This was Scott. He played ESO to troll John, and then he played Save Room, which was Resident Evil 4's inventory system as a video game. John played Dead Space Remake. He played Final Fantasy XIV as he usually does, and then he tried some demos, which was System Shock Boxes, Lost Fragments, After Image, and Fableton. Bo, he did Godot, who gives a shit? He kept doing it, and he played Doom 3 in VR, and he watched Last of Us and actually enjoyed something.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Grandma has hit a new level. That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week with more. Until then, go play some damn video games, and we'll see you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
I have gold. Lots of gold. Kill her. She knows everything.
Oh, Liam.
Wow, really throwing someone under the bus there, Liam.
Yeah, big time. Well, that's Liam, you know?
That didn't feel like 4 hours.
No, it didn't.
And I'm